What's up, everybody? Welcome back into TK Wrestling. We are back with our weekly pod. Drew McIntyre quit the WWE and came back.
All in one night.
Randy Orton has made the heel turn that we've all been waiting for against Cody Rhodes. And boy, was it brutal. Not very brutal according to Bleacher Report, but pretty brutal to us. And then, of course, on Monday Night Raw, we get Penta defending that championship again in a quick but a really good banger of a match. And of course, CM Punk and Roman Reigns is what I was trying to say. Face to face yet again. And Matt, we talked about it, and we'll talk about it more in a little bit. But we talked about maybe we're in the minority here because we weren't really rocking with the promo too much. It was okay, and then the moment that sent Punk over the edge just kind of felt like, okay, that's what pissed you off. That's what made you mad. But anyways, we'll jump more into that later. For now, make sure you drop a like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit that noti bell to get all the notifications, and check us out on all the socials. You already know the shtick. But Matt, how are you doing? Like we were just talking about, it's hot. Tornadoes are hitting. Now it's freezing temperatures down here in the boot. It is typical Louisiana weather in March, and yeah, we're thriving and surviving it.
Yeah, no, it's March Madness time. McNeese back to the tournament 3 years in a row. Unfortunately, first year that you and we ain't going to be there. But we want to be. We'll be there in spirit. So much love to those guys, especially DJ and JG. Man, watching those guys past 3 years just been pretty incredible. So hopefully they get a win over Vandy and go on to the second round and continue making Lake Charles proud and whatnot and becoming the Gonzaga of the South. But I guess we'll see, because I got photography competition this weekend, Casey, and I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah. I didn't know what you were competing in. For context, Matt is competing in a contest called Skills, and they do a lot of stuff. But Matt specifically is competing in photography this time around, which he hasn't done before. He's done a lot of video stuff and a lot of cinematography, but this is his first time. And I think, Matt, you got a good shot, because I think you're more creative than you give yourself credit for behind that camera.
Yeah, no, I mean, my biggest worry is the portrait, because I've never really done portrait, So it's like, because apparently you get like a chance to get the lighting right, because the Rembrandt loop, all that stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm just a little concerned about the portrait. I feel good about obviously my photography skills. You and me, we've been taking photos now for and tougher photos than most people take. I mean.
Yeah, well, and on top of that, it's like, I don't know, man. I don't want to brag on us too much, but I'll give us a little pat on the back. It's not like we've been shooting photography for 10 years. We started this 2 years ago because we were forced to take a photography class, and we were like, this kind of freaking rocks. And we just kind of stuck with doing it. And yeah, like you said, a lot of people can do still photography, but sports photography in general is just, any time you're capturing a moving target with specifically photography can obviously be a tough choice. Matt, how many are competing from our school with you?
And in photography, just 2 other people. So photography, but like I said, we have, as you point out, Skills is full of all these different competitions, and we're taking the biggest group ever. So,
okay.
Yeah, like I said, everything from nursing to welding to, as
Nice.
you said, cinematography and whatnot. We've got them all covered. So it'll be interesting, And you're right, man, like photography. Did I tell you I gave DJ my camera for the women's final game? And he was trying to take pictures at the women's final.
Oh, yeah, you did.
And he's like, let me see what I took. And I'm like, I showed him. He's like, damn, it's all fuzzy. I'm like, yeah, man. I go, it's not easy,
No, it's not. No, it is not.
So yeah, no, like you said, Casey, hopefully going to be a good week. You just got back from seeing the Savannah Bananas, dude. So
yeah, dude, it was pretty fun. Got to see the Savannah Bananas in the Caesars Superdome down in New Orleans. And yeah, it was pretty fun. We got to bring our little boy. He's 5 years old. He is autistic, so it was a big hurdle for him and a big challenge for him. And he made it almost through the whole thing. We were super proud of him. But yeah, it was my first time seeing the Bananas live. I'd seen clips of them, never really watched the game. Man, it was a lot of fun. I'm not a huge baseball guy. It's never been like the tempo that I need. And I feel like that's kind of why I've fallen out of football, even as I've gotten a little older, because football even feels slow sometimes for me. So basketball back and forth, I just, like the speed of it. But man, I gotta admit, the Savannah Bananas, they're really making me like banana ball, which is what they call it. So 2 hour time limit, and the innings are very interesting. You get a point for winning the inning instead of like however many runs, So you could get 5 runs in the second inning, but that's only worth 1 point if you win that inning. So it's pretty cool and a really fun concept. Music playing the entire time. Like music does not stop. It's just on a constant loop, and they encourage like fan engagement, and also, which I guess it's not terribly surprising since the Saints don't ever play back-to-back games, but this is the first time ever in the Superdome history that a sporting event has sold out in consecutive nights that that Savannah Bananas did it. So, yeah, it was really fun. And on top of that, my late grandfather who passed away last year, he loved to go to my nephews and their baseball games, and they are the Party Animals, which is the team that the Savannah Bananas were playing.
All right.
So it almost in a way felt like my grandpa was like there watching it with us. So it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. I got an enamel pin for both teams. So the truck that was my grandpa's that I have now, the little Party Animals pin is going to go right there on the roof of it. So yeah, it was a pretty fun event, dude. And then we got to go to the Audubon Zoo on Sunday, which is always a good time. Huge zoo though. So if you're ever down in New Orleans and you're planning on going to the zoo, bring plenty of water, bring something to shade you, like a nice big hat, because it is a huge zoo. You will be there for hours. It will not go as fast as you think it will. So yeah, it was a fun weekend, dude.
Heck yeah, dude. And you got a little shuck action from at the game.
Yeah, but Sunday they got Drew Brees.
Oh, that's why I was wondering. I saw Breeze was out there. I
Yeah.
didn't know if you got Breeze too or not. Yeah.
No, the current quarterback for the Saints, Tyler Shuck, they did like a halftime thing where they split both teams and did like a little pickup football game. But these games, it's like the Globetrotters. They're gonna make it fun and competitive, but you know who's gonna win at the end. It's always gonna be the Bananas, or it's always gonna be the Globetrotters. So they were just out there having fun, and it's so funny seeing the social media aspect of everything because we do a lot of that. But in the clip that you see on social media, you see Shuck throw one pass and it's a touchdown. It took 5 passes because nobody could catch it, and so it was pretty funny when I saw the clip. I was wondering, oh, are they going to show the tense moment of when they finally happen, or when it finally happens, and they just showed the last throw that Shuck made that just so happened to be the touchdown. So yeah, it was pretty fun. It was the crowd got really rowdy because I could imagine that people probably traveled from a distance to come see it, but you could tell it was a Saints home game, basically. It was a lot of
Right.
Louisiana folks that were there that like I knew nobody in that stadium outside of my family, and I felt like I had seen all these people at least once just in my hometown. So it felt like a very Saints atmosphere. It was pretty fun. Yeah, so I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
All right, well, look, let's jump into some wrestling. Monday Night Raw just passed. We're going to talk a little bit about Friday Night SmackDown before we jump into it. We won't spend 30 minutes on it like last week. But the
We
biggest
think.
thing that we think, the biggest thing coming out of Friday Night SmackDown, let's just talk about it, is the Randy Orton heel turn. We had the contract signing, and, Randy Orton had been hearing the voices in his head the last few weeks, and we kind of knew that something might eventually happen. But I'd be lying to you, Matt, if I even thought that you thought that this was happening this soon, this quick, and this brutal. Because I knew that last week you said we should see the turn before WrestleMania, but maybe we should get there after a few weeks. And you said, nah, let's just pull the trigger now. Let's just do it. And that's exactly what happened. Randy was talking about how, Cody, this should be easy. This is supposed to be Drew McIntyre on the other side. I'm not supposed to feel bad about giving in to the voices in my head. And Cody interjected and said, let me stop you right there because, I don't want you to turn away from the voices. I want that Randy. And no matter what happens, I'll always love you, is what he said. Signed the contract. Randy signed the contract. And as soon as he signed it, slammed Cody's head right into the table. Low blow, took him out of the ring. Steel steps got involved. Cody's gushing. And finally, when they think they've pulled Randy away, he hits the concerto, nails Cody with the steel chair in between the steps, sandwiches his head. Brutal spot, a spot we've seen before, but it never takes away from how, even in the wacky world of pro wrestling, it's like, ooh, even no matter how long you've been wrestling, you're watching wrestling, you kind of turn away a little bit at the brutal and violent nature of it all. Um, the segment ends and the show ends with Randy sitting in the ring on the chair with the blood on his shirt which by the way, I saw someone say online, if that's not Randy's next shirt, I don't know what it should be. Just make the RKO the same thing with the blood splatter right there. Boom, just right across the RKO. And so ends with Randy just sitting down with the title in his lap, staring down at it, just straight face, while the camera pans to the side and shows Randy sitting there with Cody in the background, bloodied in a mess on the ring on the announcer's table with everybody attending to him. Randy put hands on Nick Aldis in this segment. Randy put hands on Jelly Roll in this segment, and not including everything he did to Cody. Look, I'm going to call him out for a second because we use them pretty frequently on this show. Bleacher Report gave this a B, and that's got to be one of the craziest ratings I've seen them give a segment because, like you said, Matt, they've given lesser more. They've given lesser bigger ratings, and they said this added to some degree. This added a little fuel to the fire. This didn't add fuel to the fire. This burned the house down. This was the match that ignited the flame that burned everything down between Cody and Randy. Cody said no matter what happens, it's going to be all love. But I think he didn't expect this. And you know, Randy right now doesn't care about the love from Cody. He doesn't care about that. He said he needs that title. He needs that championship. And one thing that we've seen about Randy Orton over his career is no matter what, if he feels like he is honed in on a championship, he's going to get it. You know, he's done it throughout his entire career. He's not 14-time world champion for nothing. And so I don't know, man. I thought this was a perfect segment for what exactly, and it was like we we knew Randy was turning at some point, and I think a lot of people thought Cody might, but once I knew it was Randy, I knew it had to be Cody or had to be Randy turning heel. And so we knew it was happening. We just didn't know it was happening this soon. And I'll add a little bit more, Matt, and then I'll let you just give me a big response. Monday Night Raw, we were supposed to get an interview from Randy Orton with Michael Cole, and instead we got what was assumingly a pre-recorded video that was just posted up there, and it was Randy on the phone, and he was talking to someone about, thank you for this, blah, blah, blah. And it kind of insinuated that there was someone maybe outside of Cody and Randy that kind of encouraged Randy to not only do this, but give in to the voices in his head, you know? Now, my initial theories, I texted you about it. I mean, the easy route would be Aleister Black. Aleister Black's been in his ear the last few years, but that would mean that you value Aleister Black really heavily, and he's like main event world championship scene this year. And so far, they haven't really been doing that with Aleister Black, so that would be a jump for him. The other one that I really don't want, but makes the most sense, is that Randy was on the phone with The Rock. He was talking to Dwayne. And while I really don't want that, storyline wise, considering it's Cody Rhodes and everything that's happened between him and The Rock, I wouldn't be shocked if it was Dwayne behind Randy saying, like, look, we come from a different era. We're the veterans now. And the thing is all the other veterans are gone, but Randy, you're still here. You've got 5 to 7 years left. Everybody's talking about how your time is almost up. You're just getting started, buddy. You still got a long ways to go. And I know, a few years ago when your back surgery happened, maybe beating Ric Flair's record and now John Cena's record seemed unattainable because you might have to retire. But now you're healthy, you're bigger, you're stronger, your back is good. Take Cody out and show that you can still be the face of this company, and that it's been 25 years since Randy showed up. So what? Let's make it 30. Let's be world champion again and give into those voices. Take out crybaby Cody, as Dwayne called him. So I guess my big takeaways, Matt, from this to ask you, what do you think about the turn and how unexpected it was? And who was on the phone with Randy Orton? Those are my two big questions for you.
Right? I like the Rock idea. I don't want the Rock back, but I mean, the Rock's kind of the only one for me that would fit. If we're gonna give that personality on the phone a name. As for the heel turn, dude, like I said, I was waiting, and then you kind of knew it right before it happened. Like right whenever they went to shake hands, I feel like shaking hands now is the new official WWE like middle finger. Right? I mean, it seems like anytime somebody shakes a hand, somebody's trying to go for a low blow or something, whatever it is. It's just ever since the Cody Cena thing. It feels like it's become kind of a little trope. So wasn't ready for it to be that brutal though, man. I don't know like what happened to Cody, but he was gushing. Like I don't know like if that was planned. I mean, I don't know if he was wearing like a fake piece of skin with a blood pack on it or something, you know?
Nah, man,
But
that looked like a legit gush.
I
Look,
mean,
I'm assuming, and a lot of people are also assuming that when he got hit with the steps, he kind of like turned in a way to where his head was under the announce table and maybe he bladed. A lot of people are thinking that he bladed. But Cody also wouldn't surprise me as the guy to be like, all right, Randy, you got to lay it in. You know, you got to hit me at the right angle to really cut me open. And look, man, I've seen Cody take a back bump onto a burning table and have blisters on his back in a match. I wouldn't be shocked if this guy was like, "Yeah, it's just my forehead. You know, catch me with the steel steps," which I would never do. But he's Cody Rhodes, man. He's facing the company for a reason. But yeah, I don't think it was fake. I think it was a legit gash.
I mean, dude, it was just like you said, he was gushing, and it made me kind of think about it more last night when Paul Heyman came out, and Paul like, I mean, I thought maybe like you know like because I didn't see him bleeding. I guess when he got stomped, I saw him bleeding when they took him to the ambulance later. You know what I'm saying? And I thought maybe they just worked something up. But when Paul came out and he had a little cut across the bridge of his nose and his one eye still looked red and puffy, you know, I mean, I don't know what they can do with makeup these days and whatnot, but I was like, damn, dude, Paul really took it too. And that just, I mean, that was just what I was thinking. Took me back to Cody going, because I was just, he was just bleeding. I mean, it was just what a segment, dude. I don't know how you give that a B. Like that was exactly what we needed. Like that was the most needed segment maybe for WrestleMania at the time. Like now we need some new stuff, obviously, as we continue to move forward. But we had to do something with the Cody and Randy. We had to escalate it. And man, if that didn't just escalate, and what a perfect night to escalate it as well. The night that you got Jelly Roll there. Like who's the one guy maybe that Jelly Roll loves? Randy Orton, man, you know, him and Randy, like I said, tag team partners, you know, they got nothing but like this respect for each other. And that's why even Jelly came out to kind of, and I think he did calm Randy down a little bit, you know, because Randy pushed him away. And then I think he saw Jelly Roll on the ground. And then he kind of like everything kind of paused for a second. He still went back and then steel chaired Cody. So it wasn't over, but it seemed like it was smoldering more, you know? And like I said, we got that whole smolder, as you said, the final scene of him sitting in the chair, holding the championship, you know, just like you could just feel it, dude. It's like a blaze, like a forest fire had just happened. And now you've got the one tree left that's just burning still. And that's what Randy Orton was, dude. He was the one tree in the forest still burning while the rest of the stuff is just ashed completely.
Oof.
It was so good, dude. I mean, as I've been saying, dude, SmackDown has been taking it to the next level these next, like, pretty much this whole year, right? SmackDown has been trumping Raw. Now, we'll talk about Raw tonight or last night, and that was better. But SmackDown's been trumping Raw left, right, and center all year. And this is one of the reasons, dude. Now, my only concern is that we're still what? Over a month away, right? I mean, that's my only thing, dude. I mean, I guess we won't see Cody probably this week.
I
Might not
agree.
see him next week, you know? So give Cody
I
maybe.
think we do see him next week, but I'm assuming because they announced Randy's live for this SmackDown. So I'm assuming even if we do see Cody somehow this week, he's gonna be like all beat up and like being held back by security guards because like Nick's like you're not cleared, you can't get physical, but yada yada yada. But this week really strikes me as a Randy Orton and Nick Aldis face to face moment, especially since he put his hands on Nick. But yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you that I don't think we see Cody this week.
Yeah, and so my only thing is, dude, the reason I didn't see it happening last week is because I thought it would be a little too early. I thought we were going to see this, and if we'd seen this in 2 weeks, it would have felt like maybe the right. So I'm curious what they do to buffer it between now and WrestleMania because it's like I said, dude, we just scorched earth. We literally just scorched earth. Like what's the play now after you scorched earth? Where are we going to take this for the next, over a month, basically? That's my
Well,
only. I
I
don't
guess
wanna lose that intensity. That's my only thing, you know?
I guess if I'm looking at it, the way I would probably book it, I would probably have Cody not be on TV this week, and you
Right.
get your Nick Aldis and your Randy Orton face to face. And then, honestly, I would probably have Sami Zayn confront Randy Orton this week as well and set up a match for next week between Sami and Randy. You know, now all of a sudden Randy is or Sami, who just got into this little backstage, altercation with Cody last week. Now all of a sudden is having to come to his defense because what did Sammy say last week on SmackDown? He said, "Well, Randy Orton's a one of one. That's why I said that to Randy Orton," so on and so forth. And now this legend that you were just defending went and did this heinous act to the guy that's supposed to be your friend that you weren't on the same page with last week. So knowing Sammy, he's going to feel like he has to step up and help defend his friend's honor. And so that will probably set up that match next week against Randy, which I'm assuming Randy would win because obviously you got to keep Sammy losing because I have an idea where Sammy's going. And then after he beats Sammy, which is probably the main event, Cody shows back up and you probably have Cody and Randy brawl in some capacity. And maybe you could set up like a tag team match where they're on opposite sides. I don't know who you'd have Randy tag with exactly, but yeah, I think more so we're looking at it like in 2 weeks from now when we're like 2-ish weeks out we're like, okay, what do we do in these last 2 weeks? Because I think we at least have a plan for the next, 2 to 3 weeks. But after that, what are we doing?
Right.
That's the big
Like I said, I
worry.
feel like
So
we're
I'm
like I
right there
said, I
with
feel like we're
you.
like 2 weeks early, you know?
Exactly. Just a little like, I don't know, man. I would have liked to see like a tag team match maybe where I don't know. But yeah, I agree with you. I think that maybe maybe we rushed it a little bit too much, but I'm sure they'll make a like you said, SmackDown's been great this year. Ever since they went to 3 hours, it feels like they had so much talent that didn't have room to breathe when they were 2 hours. And now we've gone to 3, and, like, with commercials, it really only gives you, like, an extra 30 to 35 minutes maybe, but that it really goes a long way.
But let's also talk about commercials. It lets you place them in the right spots. Like, they've been
Exactly.
so good with commercials lately too. You haven't heard me complain about commercials probably in about a month and a half, 2 months.
And
I
I
don't
love
you
when
know?
SmackDown does the picture in picture commercials where I can still kinda, like,
Mhm,
see it from time
mhm.
to time, so I don't know. I agree with you. I agree with you. SmackDown has definitely been cooking, and this main event segment cooked, dude. I don't care what anybody says. Like for the minority out there that didn't like this too much or didn't think it was as impactful as it should have been, totally disagree with you. Should it have come a few weeks later? Yes, I can agree with that. So
Now see the one thing you said, Sammy, I think it's the other way. I think Sammy goes and talks to Cody, and it's like, "Look what happened, Cody," you know? I don't know. I feel like that could be interesting. I wanna see him talk to Cody more than I wanna see him talk to Randy. I feel like I wanna see him go and be like, "Cody, hey, so what are you gonna do about this now?" You talk all this stuff, but look what happened to you, you
well, I don't
know?
even think it's gonna be like a confronting Randy in terms of just talking to him. I think he's gonna be like really just pissed about it, and so he's just gonna
Yeah,
like,
see, I mean, I don't
you
know
know.
because I mean, he's been talking to Randy about following the voices in his own head. So, I wonder if
Yeah, but I
maybe
can
it's more
see
of a
Sammy
bonding
saying, like,
moment,
I
you
can
know?
I don't think so because that would
Alright.
insinuate that now Sammy is a full-on heel and he agrees with what Randy just did, and that's not the case. Well, if Sammy
I
was a
mean,
heel, he
right,
wouldn't be
not yet.
apologizing to babyfaces backstage, you
Not
know?
yet, you're right, not yet, but
But
I could see it
let's
being
talk
one of
about
those
Sammy.
things that pushes him a little I don't know. I guess we'll see, but yeah, I don't know.
Well, let's
But
talk
no,
a little bit about Sammy. Let's talk about Sammy because
alright.
I have an idea. I saw a comment. Let me see. I can try to find it. I think it was on our YouTube. Someone dropped a comment about Sami Zayn that made me think. I was like, "Ooh, that actually makes a ton of sense." And let me see. Give me just a sec. I'll find it. It's okay. We can cut this dead air. No big deal. If we are gonna write, let me see. Okay. So it was this person and somebody else. They must have commented it on one of our TikToks. But someone said this is Dom Dom on YouTube. He dropped a comment. He said, "I dig it. Could always make it be Sammy to give him a heel turn in reference to the mystery attacker, the person that attacked Jacob Fatu."
Wow.
And so, because Sammy has done a lot of sneaky stuff throughout his career, whenever he's been a heel and stuff like that, and this could be like Sammy's like ultimate descent into the darkness or the madness of like, Sammy tries to put on this fake nice guy act, like he's trying to keep all the pieces together, when really he's just like being really manipulative behind the scenes, taking guys out behind this, backstage and stuff like that. And I don't know exactly how you get there, but I don't think it would be too hard to all of a sudden catch everybody off guard and reveal Sammy as the mystery attacker. I've been pitching it to be Randy, which, could make sense, I think, especially if you want to set up a program with him and Jacob Fatu, because I think that Randy's probably winning that title at Mania. Sammy also kind of makes sense to me, but I do want to say I only want it to be Sammy if it's leading to a world championship run. I don't want it to be Sammy to just like make him an upper mid card or a cannon fodder guy in the main event scene again. I want it to lead to something big.
No,
I,
if
I
no, yeah, 100, dude. No, if
yeah,
Sammy, I like the idea of Sammy Jekyll and hiding. I'm for
yeah,
that. Like he doesn't even know he did it. Maybe
mm,
like he like blacked out Tyler Durden style. Doesn't even know he did it. I'm for that. Yeah, if it leads to something, or maybe if it leads to just a new character persona. Like, give me the demon version of Sami Zayn, whatever. Like, not full makeup and all sorts of
right, right, right.
crazes, but give me like the Dark Zayn. There we go. Give me Dark Zayn, Darth Zayn. There we go. Give me the new
Just
Sith Master
Dude,
Darth
and
Zayn.
it would be as simple as just changing his attire to be like something more dark and monotone, and then him
Mhm.
coming out in a black hoodie and just slow his music down, change his music up a little bit. It would literally be that simple of a change.
Or imagine just taking his nice luscious golden whatever bronze hair and putting some black streaks in it or something. I don't
Mhm.
know. Kind of like how we talked about now that Seth's back, the highlights are gone, right? You know, so I don't know. I mean, just something. Give me Darth Zane. I would love some Jekyll and Hyde shit like that. That would be fantastic.
Yeah. Hey, I'm right there with you. I think something new has to happen for Sami Zayn, but I think the good thing is that it's on the horizon. I think it's really close. I think we're right on the precipice of something happening for Sammy. Just WWE just really needs to capitalize on it.
Give
And
me
if
give me Darth Zane with a red kendo stick.
There you go. There you go. Then you can do like they'll do a partnership with Disney since they have the ESPN thing,
Right,
and on
right.
on the PLEs they'll have Star Wars branded kendo sticks.
I'm
There you
telling you,
go.
dude. Right
Boom.
there. What are you
And you can
doing,
have
WWE? Where's our phone call, baby?
you could have Adam Driver show up to hang out with Sami Zayn one episode or on a PLE or something. He presents him with the red lightsaber kendo stick or whatever, and it looks just like Kylo Ren's lightsaber with the sword.
There we go.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, look, just cut us the check when you make the
Yeah.
sponsorship
Yeah,
deal.
just let us know what's up. Yeah, yeah.
You've got our email. You've done it before, so you got us. But yeah, dude, I think something should happen with Sammy pretty soon, and I do think we're really close to that. So WWE, capitalize on it. All right, I think last big thing we should talk about on Friday Night SmackDown before we move over to Monday Night Raw, because this kind of plays into some stuff we saw on Monday Night Raw, is the tag team turmoil in the women's division.
Oh, wait.
And
Before we do, I just want to say one thing.
go ahead.
I'm so in love with Damian Priest and R-Truth together. I just want to
Oh,
say
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
Talk about they took on Los Garzas, just, they're going to, but they're so much fun. And I hope that's a thing for a minute. I hope it's not just, dissolves after WrestleMania, you
I
know?
think it will be a thing for a little bit. I think it gives both of them something to do and hold a championship, because I think they're going to take those titles eventually, because it just kind of makes sense. I think it just makes sense for them to be tag champs at some
I
point.
just want more R-Truth in my life, dude. Like, I love that he's making I love that now it's like they brought Danhausen in. It's like they feel more comfortable with bringing R-Truth on more often. It's like he'd been kind of absent, minus the John Cena retirement tour, little short, R-Truth Ron Cena thing. So,
Well,
dude,
again,
so
3
happy.
hours, more room to breathe, more people on the show.
This is true too. This is true
And you
too.
got some injuries, of course, that happen, and R-Truth's just like, he's just a big company guy, and he plays his role really well. So I need R-Truth and Danhausen at some point together in the same room. I really need that to happen. So, anyways, I'm right there with you. Damian Priest and R-Truth, give me a tag title run between those two. I need to see it. Like I said last week, they have chemistry from a few years ago. They've done stuff together. And so I'm not really shocked that they fit well together. It almost feels like Shrek and Donkey from Shrek in a ways. It's like It's like, man, Shrek is really intimidating, and you kind of take Donkey, you're like, oh, whatever, he can't do much, and then he surprises you, and he does some stuff like,
He does
dude,
just enough.
well, Donkey bagged the dragon from Shrek, bro. He bagged the dragon. Like, come on, man. So, anyways, Shrek and Donkey are Damian Priest and R-Truth for me.
All right, we've got some memes to make.
Yeah, we do. Yes, we do. All right, so let's jump into the women's tag team turmoil. Like I said, we got a lot of women involved in this tag team championship scene now. We won't jump into everything, Matt, but as of right now, from what we saw on SmackDown and Monday Night Raw, it looks like we got about 4 or 5 teams really in the mix for these tag titles. I'd be shocked if we're getting like another title change before WrestleMania, and it only leads to like 1 or 2 teams like against each other. This feels like a multi-tag situation at WrestleMania. And I was telling you before the pod started, we for the men at least, we have had these era-defining tag team TLC matches between the Hardys, the Dudleys, Edge and Christian, among a lot of other teams. We've had those era-defining TLC matches. I think it's about time we had one of those for the women. And
Right.
I'm looking at the Bella Twins. I'm looking at the Kabuki Warriors. I'm looking at the Irresistible Forces. I'm looking at Charlexa, and I'm looking at the last team that I'm forgetting, and it's I'm gonna
The
get there.
Valkyries, did you mention the
Yes,
Valkyries?
yes, Bailey and Lyra Valkyria. I'm looking at those 5 women, like those 5 tag teams and those 10 women, and I'm like, man, give me a 5-team TLC match at WrestleMania for those tag titles, dude. Like, just you got to climb up. Both women have to climb up to grab those titles, and I can only imagine the spots we would see, the carnage it would be, and I just need to see that. So that's all I really wanted to say about the women's division. So that way we don't spend too much on Raw and we don't spend too much more time on SmackDown, even though the women deserve it. I think that we need that era defining match for the women this year, and I think this is we've been talking about this for months. The perfect opportunity to showcase multiple groups of women on the grandest stage of them all. And I just think it would be an excellent and really fun and car crash of a match. And it doesn't look like Julia and Kiana James are gonna be in that mix because it looks like Tiffany Stratton, like I predicted a month and a half ago, is gonna be going after Julia for that US title at WrestleMania. And so when I look at the landscape and who's left, Rhea and Io are done. Looks like Io's gonna be after Raquel. Give me these 5 tag teams in this TLC match and just let them go out there and steal the show, dude. So that's my pitch, man. Give me the women's TLC match at WrestleMania.
No, look, I'm 100 on you on that. I feel like we just got to build some of these other tag teams up a little bit because we haven't seen them in a while. Like technically, we haven't seen the Kabuki Warriors, in a minute. We've seen all the Oscar we can get, with Kyrie like supporting her like in singles matches, and like I said, we haven't seen much of Lyra and Bailey lately, and we sure as hell haven't seen the Bella Twins, right? So I would really like, and my only thing is the Bellas are like, yeah, we're next, we're next. You're not next, how are you next? You're never on the show. I don't even know that you're back officially, besides you showed up in SmackDown to screw up the not friend Charlexa win. But I'm fine with that too, because when I saw that match, I'm like, this is too early. What are we doing? There's no way the Irresistible Force is losing these titles before WrestleMania, right? There's no way. So that was my one thing about this match is you knew this match was going to end either in a no contest or in somehow Charlotte and Alexa losing. So I'm okay with that, but I need the Bella Twins, like I need the Bella Twins and the Kabuki Warriors like to wrestle this next week, or I need something, I just need to see more of the other tags back because we know they exist, but it feels like it's just been a hot minute since we've seen a couple of them, work as a tag unit, and we know the Kabuki Warriors are going to be fine. We know the Valkyries are going to be fine for the most part, but I mean, we've seen the Bellas what at the Rumble? Have we seen them since the Rumble? You got the mute. You got the mute.
And then they showed up on a Monday Night Raw to cut a promo, but that's
Right,
about
but I
it.
mean, we haven't seen them in ring action, right? Besides the Rumble, so that's my only thing. It's like I I am not a Bella fan. I'll be honest, I'm not yet. Right? I mean, you haven't given me enough that I wasn't watching. 7 years ago, whenever they were the main thing. So I need something to establish these ladies. Give me a match, like I said, with the Kabuki Warriors, with the Valkyries. Give me a 3-way match between the 3 of them, just to get a little momentum going. But I don't know. We'll see what happens because yet again, WrestleMania is still a month and a half away, and this is another one of those builds that it's like let's slow it down. Let's make sure we're building this right. So I just want more Bellas. If the Bellas are going to be influential, going to be in the WrestleMania, if we're going to get this some sort of 5-way, 3-way, whatever kind of match we're going to get for WrestleMania, I just need more Bellas if they're going to be in it. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
I wouldn't be shocked if WWE kind of like does a fatal four-way tag team match and for the number one contendership, and the irresistible forces just like make it a no contest and just like destroy everybody in the match.
Right, right.
And then Aldis and Pierce just come together and they're like, you know what? Let's just agree that all of the teams will duke it out at a big match at WrestleMania. And I just wouldn't be shocked if that's how they play it off. And then you can work out some like mixtures of tags against each other up until then. So I think we have
So there's some
time.
singles matches, whatever. Yeah, but I mean, I just need more Bellas if I feel like the Bellas are gonna because I've seen everybody else recently. Like I said, we haven't seen them since the Rumble, and before that, not at all. So I just need something, man. Like give me something to show because, dude, we'll talk about it here in a minute when we talk about Raw. Still not sold on AJ Lee, dude. Still not sold, and they keep letting her win. So
All right. Well, and absolute last thing we're gonna mention from SmackDown. We do not have to spend any time on it, Matt. We both unanimously agree. MFTs and Wyatt Six. It's time to be done. It's time to be done. It's the general consensus online, anyways. It's time to be done.
dude,
I'm
and they're
more
so
interested.
isolated. They're so isolated. I feel like they're on their own show. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
like it doesn't
I'm
even
more interested in what's going on with, Shinsuke Nakamura and Tama Tonga and all that. I'm more interested in that than I am seeing any more Wyatt Six and MFTs. It almost feels intentional in a way sometimes to overexpose us to this group so we don't like them anymore in terms of the Wyatt Six, because that's been the big problem with WWE after, like, 2020 or so, is how to book these spooky gimmicks, right? It's how to book these spooky acts. And the Wyatt Six are a spooky group. Sorry, I'm about to sneeze. Woo! Allergies today, folks. It's this weather going back and forth, man. All right. But that's one of the big problems with the Wyatt Six is it's either underexposed, like it's either they're gone for way too much at a time, or we see them do the same thing with the same people over and over and over and over again. It's like, "Oh, cool. We got Solo and Tala Tonga tonight instead of Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa." Like, it's not we don't need more mixtures against each other. We need them to be done with each other and part ways and go do different things. WWE, we're over it. You've done it a lot. It's been a long time. It's getting to Damian Priest and Aleister Black levels, dude. We need to just separate these two. They can always come back. The
dude, it's
thing is,
past those levels. It's past those
yeah,
levels. And like I said, part of it is that, like you said, it's so interchangeable. Like, well, tonight we're gonna have Tama Tonga and Sola, tonight we're gonna have Tonga Loa, or what it's that you can't get invested. Like at least with Aleister Black and Damian Priest, it was the two of them, and you knew who you were rooting for the whole time. With the MFTs and Wyatt Six, they'll change them out, so you're not sure who's wrestling. And I mean, like I said, you've got the MFTs, except for Solo, they're all in white face paint. So if you already are barely getting these guys in the first place, there's nothing for me to differentiate besides what Tala Tonga is the tall one, right? Am I right? Like I said, that's about it. Same with like the Wyatt Six, like they're all the I don't feel like any of them have personalities outside of Uncle Howdy. Like they all just seem like, I mean, if we talk about White Walkers in Game of Thrones, they all feel like White Walkers. Like they go and like they don't talk. I mean, does Gacy or any of them talk? Do they ever say
not
anything?
really. I mean, so Dexter Loomis's whole thing for a while is that he was a mute. He just never spoke.
There
And
we go.
so that's one of his big things. But I mean, Eric Rowan has mic skills. Joe Gacy has mic skills. I think it's just, I think WWE just doesn't know what to do with this group. If I'm just being 100% real with you, it feels almost as if they tried to force it to like please Bo Dallas in terms of honoring Bray Wyatt. And it's like, it's cool, man, but, like, at some point, what are we doing with it? Like, what's the goal? Like, you had the tag titles and you lost them and whatever, whatever, but, like, tag team gold should have never really been. This almost feels like a group that shouldn't be worried about championships, except for maybe Uncle Howdy, and then you can like try to play it off as some sort of like changing narrative or changing the landscape or whatever, just making things overall different. However, you may address it, but like the spooky cult like group cares about tag team titles. I mean, I guess, but
I mean, what I want to see is I want to see them rig that lantern up, right? Rig it up with some like smoke thing, okay? And then have like Solo, hit the thumb, and then take the lantern and break it. And then smoke like the soul of Bray Wyatt is escaping. And that's it. And then like all the Y6 can all go their separate ways. It's like that's the end of it. We freed Bray. We've done it. And maybe Uncle Howdy's like, I never thought of doing that for Bray. I thought that we needed to keep him with us the whole
well,
time.
I think that maybe they would do it more of like a symbolic way. I don't think they would explicitly say that on TV just because Bray's death is so fresh.
Right.
And like it was such a tragic thing that happened. It was so unexpected. And also Bo Dallas is his brother. So maybe they would like symbolically do that where it's like the lantern is broken and now the Wyatt Six feel like they can like finally part or move on. I would even do something along the lines of like if the lantern were to be broken, the lights go out and they just all disappear. And then they're
Something,
just
I
yeah, they're
mean,
just
yeah,
gone
yeah.
for
I mean,
good.
it doesn't have to be as blatant as I'm saying, but yeah, I mean, something.
Right.
I mean, I just, I feel, yeah, no, I feel like, yeah, I feel like they're kind of stuck in this mourning
Well,
honoring of Bray,
but
which
the thing was, when the Wyatt Six were introduced, it was so badass because they destroyed everybody and laid waste to everything. It was like everybody was down backstage, and it almost feels like they butchered it immediately by like not showing them on TV, inconsistent booking, overbooking them with the MFTs, and it's just like Uncle Howdy got pinned on SmackDown a few weeks ago. This Uncle Howdy should be a guy that's never, ever, ever taking a pin. If I'm being 100% real with you, he should be taking a pin to like world champions and main eventers. He shouldn't be pinned on a random SmackDown in a tag team match. It shouldn't be happening. And the way they introduced this group and the way they have booked it into the ground is honestly just a result of bad booking, in my opinion.
yeah,
Like,
no, like you said, they
and
don't know
maybe,
what to do with them, and
yeah,
it might be the supernatural element that they're having an issue with. You might be right. I mean, let's be real here. They kind of have that same issue when it comes to Aleister Black, you know. But it's funny how they figured it out with Danhausen, right? Because
yeah,
it's not as dark and it's more comedic, but then it
right.
still hits. So yeah, no, I mean, I think that's part of it. They're not sure what to do with this because they're really the only supernatural group in the WWE besides Aleister Black, right? Like who else is a, you know, otherworldly or whatever? Like there's not like a voodoo priestess, you
Yeah, no,
know?
I mean, they're definitely the big ones right now. But yeah, I don't know, man. Look, I feel like later in his career, Bray really thrived on the cinematic matches, like the pre-recorded stuff.
Right, right.
And I feel like that should be the big focus of this group. Is like, I'm not saying we can't see them on SmackDown from time to time, but like I said, Uncle Howdy wrestling, let alone getting pinned by someone, should be special, and it should be far and few between. And like maybe that's an issue because you paid Bo Dallas the way you paid him, and he has to wrestle a certain amount of times. I don't know. You're the company. You book it however you want, but that doesn't mean that it's good booking. But like more scarcity with them in terms of like actually wrestling and meaningful feuds would go a long ways. And again, this should lead to something that's like a cinematic pre-recorded. We should introduce like a new Wyatt compound, and it can be like dedications to Bray. I mean, we can do this easily. Buy a house somewhere in Florida and just film the match there. Decorate it, soup it up. You have stuff all in your warehouse that you could easily decorate and do up a place. And then you tear up the place, destroy it, and sell the property off and tax it. You'll lose no money, dude. But it's just that WWE has to do something to keep this group fresh, or they just need to dissolve it altogether because it's not working. And then keep Uncle Howdy by himself if that's what you want to do and he can continue on the Bray thing, or we can move on and let Bo Dallas be a new character. I don't know what you do, but what you're doing right now is not working. And I said I wasn't going to spend a lot of time on it, and it got me all riled up. because Bray's my favorite, dude. Look, I like
Dude, I know,
yeah.
I know the love you got for Bray. Yeah, no,
Yeah, and
for
it's
sure.
just like it's like, man, it felt like Bray wasn't booked consistently well throughout his entire career up until his tragic passing. And then, he was given a lot of creative control. He had a lot of big ideas that didn't necessarily work a lot of the times. But even still, like I point to Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt at that WrestleMania, whenever Randy Orton won the Royal Rumble and they had the projectors on the screen or on the ring, and they just made Bray almost feel silly. And it's like, man, they're just doing a lot of the same stuff with the Wyatt Six under a whole new regime. And it's just really frustrating because there's a lot of potential with that group and they could have done something, but whatever. I guess we're just going to get MFTs and the Wyatt Six until the end of time.
I
So,
mean, the other thing is like, look, man, one of my favorite actors was Chris Farley. When Chris Farley died, they didn't just try to stick Kevin Farley, his brother, into everything. Like sometimes you just got to let something that's special be its thing and then move on. You can't just try to keep it going and recreate something because you have. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how big, Bo Dallas is prior, or without Bray. I don't know. I mean, you know that better than me, but can he support a whole thing by himself? Like I said, because you can't give Kevin Farley anything that you would give Chris Farley.
right.
That's why Chris Farley was Chris Farley. That's why we still know who he is because
Yeah,
we
no,
didn't try to
I
water
kind of agree
down
with
what he
you.
was.
I
You
kind of
know,
agree with you now, and now that I'm thinking about the whole like breaking the lantern situation, I actually kind of like that as a way to like silently resolve this group and let everybody move on. And you don't even
Mhm.
have to make because Bo Dallas, no, he wasn't a huge star before any of this, and not to say like he wasn't a great talent. He's a former tag team champion. He's done a lot of stuff in the business, but this wasn't anywhere near the type of character he was. He was like a happy-go-lucky Bo leave. That was his thing. That was his shtick. And so now, if we're gonna if we let's say we approach it and we shatter the lantern gets broken. The MFTs do this like unthinkable act of shattering the lantern and lights go out and they think that terror is about to rain down on them. But instead, when the lights come back on, Wyatt Six are gone. And for weeks they watch their back. For weeks they watch their back, but the Wyatt Six never come back. They never return. And eventually you can have, Dexter Loomis and Joe Gacy and Eric Rowan and Nikki do their own things. And I think you could even bring Bo Dallas back, like just as Bo Dallas, but like a darker character. He's a brawler, not like necessarily like a boxer or a fighter, but he's just like he wrestles a more loose style. He's wearing black clothing all the time. He's obviously depressed and obviously going through stuff, but he's not Uncle Howdy anymore. He's post Uncle Howdy,
yeah,
and
he's some amalgamation of Uncle Howdy and, like you said, this
yeah,
happy-go-lucky Bo.
yeah, and we may see not necessarily the happy-go-lucky. I don't even think that. He's just more like dead-faced all the time and kind of serious. And now he's dealing with the emotions in the aftermath of like the memory of his brother finally being put to rest. And now we're seeing the effects of all that. It's kind of like when a villain retires from being a villain and goes back to normal life. And maybe they don't feel the same way they were when they were a villain, but now they're dealing with all the repercussions of the stuff they did in the back of their brain and trying to live with that and trying to live everyday life, no longer being the person they used to be.
And then imagine then Bo Dallas going up to Solo and thanking him for breaking the lantern.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
And you can
we
have this
never we
whole new layer
yeah,
of Bo
we couldn't
Dallas.
do it ourselves. We never could do it. We didn't think, but now you've done it.
Yeah,
You've
because
freed us all,
because
of
they've
this.
never been scared of bringing Bray into stuff like this. And you can have Bo say, you know, the death of my brother brought me down to the lowest of lows, to the depth I never thought I would get to. And I thought the best thing for me was to keep his memory alive, when in reality the best thing was to let my brother rest. And
Right.
and let him finally have the much needed rest he deserves. And now I can be the person I need to be. And you can even show little moments of like Uncle Howdy poking out when things get serious for Bo Dallas. And like it's like maybe he's in a match and he does something and the yeah comes out and you're like, oh God, he might be turning to Uncle Howdy, but he never really goes back to Uncle Howdy. It's just like a reminder of like, don't forget what this brain is capable of. Don't forget what's in there. Don't forget what
Right.
used to be. So yeah, give me a character shift for Bo Dallas. Again, we said we were going to talk about Wyatt Six. We talked about him for 15 minutes.
I told you. You thought we were going to talk about SmackDown. We talked about SmackDown.
We talk about SmackDown, but now let's talk about Monday Night Raw. We're not,
Rollins.
yeah,
Monday
Monday
Night
Night Raw.
Rollins.
And that is exactly what happened. Monday Night Raw kicks off with Seth Rollins in the middle of the ring. They do the whole masked person shtick, whatever. And Paul Heyman comes out. Words are exchanged. Who else comes out but Brock Lesnar? For a second, Matt, it looked like the internet rumors were true and we were going to be set up for Seth and Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. But all of a sudden, Oba Femi's music hits. And Oba comes out strutting, and he's just strutting down to the ring, dude. I love Oba Femi so much. And not only accepts the challenge, but lays out Brock Lesnar, foot on his chest, points to the WrestleMania side.
Foot on his chest thing, dude.
That's that's very intentional. Brock doesn't just let people do that.
Oh, I figure.
And Brock has a lot of pull in this company. And so Brock must be a really big fan of Oba Femi to say, yeah, kid, that's cool. You could do that. And so I loved this. Now, Matt, you and we got to talk about this segment because we kind of interpreted things a little differently. And, we talked a little bit back and forth about what could come of this. But you were given the impression maybe that Seth and Oba were kind of working together on this. And
dude, I mean, they gotta be. I mean, I know it's a wrestling trope to have, something happen and then have music hit and somebody else comes out. But the way that Paul and Seth went back and forth in the beginning, when Rollins made it clear that he's like, look, I am smarter than you. I'm going to take care of this, basically. I'm going to figure all this out. He goes, you're the worst mistake I ever made. I'm going to fix this. I just love the idea of two guys playing chess. And Paul Heyman's like, oh yeah, well, you ready? F5. And Rollins is like, dude, I had that. I knew you were coming with that. You ready? F5 to OF. I mean, it's like chess, dude. Now, that I do not believe that Oba Femi is now part of a Rollins faction. I'm not saying that, but I do believe on some level they're working together. If not just some temporary friendship, if this was one of those, like if this was an actual TV show, like right now we'd be doing the quick back, like flashback thing to where like they met, they talked, they had all these conversations, Rollins slipped him an envelope full of money, whatever it would happen. You know what I'm saying? We didn't get that. We don't get the there's gotta be, because I know you're going to tell me this is just how wrestling is. He came out to accept the challenge that Brock had issued before about the open challenge. But man, it was so perfect. And the fact that Seth didn't flinch, the whole time, he didn't flinch and he waited. And then the smile on his face just told me he knew what was going to happen. And it was just this, it was such a shit-eating grin as he's standing over there in the corner and he's just looking. And he's like, game, set, match. Game, set, match. So really hoping that this is the case, and it isn't just that Oba happened to come out, at the time. I'm really hoping that because that just makes Seth that much smarter. Like he just trumped Paul Heyman. Like Paul Heyman thought he was playing like this amazing, it's like you think you got four aces and somebody else has the royal flush. Or yes, you can't have four aces and a royal flush in the same hand. Maybe you can in Texas Hold'em. Anyways, you get what I'm saying. You think you've got the hand one. Nobody can beat you. But Seth has the one hand that can beat you. And that for me, that just would put Seth on another pedestal that he doesn't really need. But man, that's what the architect, that's what the visionary would do. He would see it. He would see it and make it happen. So I'm really hoping that in some way Seth and Oba are aligned, if only temporarily. I can see it even becoming a thing where Oba's like, I don't need you, Seth. I partnered with you for a second, because we had mutually aligned whatever, things we want to accomplish.
Mutual interest.
Yeah, mutual interest. He goes, but we are not friends. I am not your dude. And then I can see Oba, choke slamming Seth, I could see that, but for now, God, I'm just hoping that Seth is the visionary I want him to be.
Well, here's the thing. I think you're partially right. I just don't see like a partnership of any sort. I think that maybe we're going to see something more along the lines of either Seth says something about it, Oba mentions it, or we see a clip like, oh, a few weeks backstage, whatever it may be, where we see Seth. In some way, Seth says, look, I'm the visionary. I'm the one that put the vision together because I can see the future of the business. And I see that Oba is obviously a future pillar of this business. All I did was get in his ear and say, hey, man, you're the future of this business. And what better way to put yourself on the map than to go take out Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania? Exactly like you said, because he knew that Paul Heyman was going to recruit Brock Lesnar to come take care of him. So I don't view it as a partnership, more so as Seth is taking care of his work by appealing to the younger guys, saying, hey, you want to be known as the best big guy around, right? Well, what's the best way than to step to the biggest guy in the yard? And who's the biggest guy in the yard? That's the beast, the guy that's got the WrestleMania challenge laid out. And all of a sudden, maybe you see a segment where Oba's warming up backstage from a few weeks ago. Seth comes up and just like from maybe nobody Seth knows that Seth is around, and maybe Oba knew this whole time and just kept his mouth shut. But Seth like pops up from the shadows and he's like, "Hey, whoa, I'm just here to talk." And he says, I see potential in people, and I typically recruit these guys. Ova, you don't need my help. You don't need me to recruit you, but maybe you need to be pointed in the right direction. And so he could say something along the lines of like, you don't have a WrestleMania match. And then they look at the TV, and maybe when they look at the TV is from a few weeks ago where Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman were in the ring laying
Right.
out the open challenge, and Seth just kind of like pats him on the chest and walks away, and Oba just kind of like stands there watching as the open challenge plays. And so I think that there's obviously a connection between these two, but I think more so it's Seth planting the seeds because he knew that Paul was going to play this move. And like you said, he was playing chess. But in terms of like a duo or a partnership or like a handshake agreement, I don't think any of that's going to exist personally. But I do think you're right that Seth planned this move. I just don't see anything moving on. I think that this is the last maybe we see of anything between Oba and Seth at all, at least for now. Down the
Okay.
line, sure, of course, but for this rivalry, I don't think that we're going to get any more like interaction between the two. I'd be
So
very
I feel like we're
surprised.
gonna get something backstage, between now and WrestleMania. If nothing else, Seth coming up to Oba, thanking him for coming out there, something like that. I'd love that previous 2 weeks ago segment to be like all the masked men go run and surround like Oba's car as Oba's leaving like practice or whatever, or leaving a Raw, and like Seth pops out, takes the mask off, and has a
Well,
conversation
see,
with
here's
the
my
group of
problem.
masked men around
Here's
him.
my problem with the thank though, because I think that a large hole in what you're saying is insinuating that Seth was scared of Brock or felt like he needed help from Brock. Like I told you, Seth has beaten Brock Lesnar at
Right.
WrestleMania in 5 minutes. Like this is not a guy he hasn't beaten before. Like, obviously, it's Brock Lesnar on the other side of the ring, but Seth has, at least this late in his career, has not really been the chicken shit heel that runs,
Oh
and
yeah,
runs
no,
away
yeah,
from a
yeah.
fight. And so I don't see him like, thanks Oba for coming to take this challenge. And that's why I feel like it's more of a chess move to take a piece off to like if you can get the queen off the board by sacrificing a rook or whatever, you do it. Now the rook might win you the game later on the line down the line, but if you yourself, the king, can take out the opposing queen, you're going to do that every time. And right now,
Yeah.
Oba is the guy that's going to take out the opposing queen in Brock Lesnar, so that way, Seth can keep on with his new vision, that is to take down the vision, because he did explicitly say that. He didn't say like my intentions are this, my intentions are that. He said I created the vision, I'm going to kill the vision. So he let us know very clearly what his plans were.
No, I'm with you. Like I said, I don't think the thank you would be like Seth showing weakness. I think the thank you would still be strategic. Like I'm just keeping the big man, letting him know that I'm happy with it. And as I said last night, that's one thing Seth did. He didn't recruit Logan Paul. He didn't recruit Austin Theory. He recruited Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, two dudes who were bigger than him in a sense. So that's I could see him maybe in some ways, dude, you're the biggest. I don't know. I'm just hoping that Seth's more involved with this than it is just being some random but coming out right place, right time. And let's just one more thing. Paul Heyman, give that man an Emmy. Give that was, dude, that was the most disturbed looking Paul Heyman. He was, God, dude, he is chewing up the scenery. F-A-F-O, F-A F5. Dude, give him give him an Emmy. He is just chewing it up. And like I said, I wasn't ready for him to look that hurt. Like, I mean, like I said, I don't know if it was makeup, if somebody popped him in the eye again right before he walked out. But I mean, that eye looked like, I mean, it looked like it was almost jello, dude.
I
Like
know.
it could, you know. So wow, man, just give Paul Heyman an Emmy because that was a great like even before Brock Lesnar came out. Like I said, just the confrontation between and I don't know. I wonder if you ask Seth right now who he hates more, Paul Heyman or CM Punk. I wonder who tops the list now. I wonder if Paul tops the list. So yeah, dude. No, just what a way to start Raw, and then what a way to just watch it go woo downhill the rest of the show.
Yeah, yeah, well, let's talk about the rest of it. So up next we had, let's see, did I miss a backstage segment? I don't know. We could talk more about it if I did, but we had El Grande Americano versus original El Grande Americano, which Corey Graves is now deeming OG El Grande Americano and the real El Grande Americano. And yeah, I mean, look, I don't think this is definitely isn't the end of this feud. And so that's why I still think maybe we're getting the Creed brothers in a mask at some point, and we're still going to get these two in a mask versus mask match. But this was fine. I don't think this was anything special because I don't feel like it's the last one. We had OG El Grande Americano hit the diving headbutt, but real El Grande Americano had slipped the metal plate into his mask.
Right.
So boom, headbutt. El Grande Americano rolls over for the win. Look, like I said, I thought it was fine, but I think that the crowd is also ready for Chad Gable to be unmasked. Because if you noticed last night, for the first time, I think that I've really noticed it, Chad Gable as El Grande Americano OG got booed. The crowd was booing him big time. And maybe it was because they were in a really heavy Hispanic city like San Antonio, and maybe they just weren't really rocking with his version of El Grande Americano. Maybe there's a lot of AAA fans in the crowd, so they liked real El Grande Americano. But El Grande Americano just won the Rey de Reyes, uh, in AAA. So now he's the number one contender for Dominic's AAA Mega Championship, which I said months ago should be El Grande Americano to take the title off of Dom. Now, Dom, of course, looks like he might be missing some time after that AAA show. He's got a concussion, and it looks like he's going to be on the shelf for at least a week or two. And he took a chair shot to the head. I don't know if that's what did it, but look, man, El Grande Americano is so over. I say this every week, and it looks like he's now starting to get over in the States as well. So I think we're really close to you either have to completely flip it and make El Grande Americano and Los Americanos the faces and OG El Grande Americano the heel, or we got to take the mask off. Something's got to give because the crowd is starting to turn on Chad Gable. I think it's just because they want Chad Gable back. I think they just want the gimmick to be done. But we're really close to WrestleMania, and I think it's going to be the mask versus mask match. But I've already talked about it. In the meantime, I think we should put the Creed brothers in the masks, put them 3v3, and have a few mixed tag matches, here and there leading up to WrestleMania. But as of right now, you got to do something. I don't know if you agree with me, Matt, but Chad, it seems like we just need to take him out of the mask now.
No, no, you're right. Like this is another one of those matches that or one of the rivalries that feels like, yeah, we're 2, 3 weeks ahead of schedule. Like we needed this not to happen yet. We need because we still got a month till WrestleMania, and we're assuming this is going to be the WrestleMania match to demask Chad Gable. So the only way it makes sense is if they do something like what you're talking about, putting the Creed brothers in mass and giving us some extra little leeway. Because otherwise, I mean, what do? We just had the two Grande Americanos go. You're going to have them go again and then again and again. I mean, how many times are you going to have them go before WrestleMania? Unless you're going to unmask him before WrestleMania, which would be nuts to do it on a coming home match, like for WrestleMania to unmask him early and then who knows what if Chad Gable has a match at WrestleMania and we ain't seen Chad Gable, I don't know. But yeah, the only way I can see it is if they do something to yet again fill in 2 or 3 weeks. And you gotta I love the idea. I've loved it since you said it. Put the Creed brothers in mass. And let's have them go against Bravo and Ryo. Is that the other one? Bravo and Ryo. Yeah. So I mean, have them go between the just have it all just some. But otherwise, this is kind of getting stale, right? I mean,
Yeah.
this is another thing that's kind of getting stale, and I didn't think this could get stale, but they've now ran it for so like how long has El Grande Americano been a wrestler? Like from the get, right? This has been a year, basically. Has it been over a year?
Yeah, it's been over a year because it was before WrestleMania last year.
Right, right.
Yeah,
So I mean, like, look, man. I mean, like, I'm very happy that this gimmick's hitting for Ludwig Kaiser because he wasn't really going anywhere beforehand. You
right.
know, but yeah, I mean, just this it needs to end. We got to get Chad Gable back. We got to find a way, or like I said, bring the Creed brothers in. But even so, this has to end at WrestleMania. We
Yeah,
have to be done with this at WrestleMania. Otherwise, I mean, I'm gonna start tuning it out, dude. I mean, like what? How much more can you watch two guys with the same name that you thought were gonna come to a head and have come to a head? Like I said, they're coming to a head in AAA as well. Like it's not like it's just happening here. Like
right.
a Grande Americano, Nuevo Grande Americano, just won in AAA. So over El Grande Americano Original. So yeah, so I mean, I don't know. I'm ready for this to end. And I don't know what you do in the meantime, unless you do suit up the Creed brothers and have them go against Bravo and Ryo or have some 3-man tag match, whatever it is, something to placate us. Cause yet again, we're a month away from WrestleMania. So
Yeah.
yeah, dude.
And I tell you what, I would even like to see the comedic moment of, let's say after WrestleMania, Chad Gable loses his mask, right? And the next night on Raw, he's like, oh man, he's backstage with the Creed brothers under their masks. Maybe even Ivy Nile has put on her mask. I don't think she necessarily needs it. But he can be like, oh man, thank God I'm out of that mask. It was so hard to breathe and I was always so hot. And the Creed brothers are like, oh, finally we can take off ours too. And Gable's like, no, you need to keep it on for your training. They just have to be miserable and they keep wrestling in the masks or whatever. And so I think that would be pretty funny.
I mean, it'd be funny if they all took off their masks and each one took it off and a metal plate fell out of each mask,
Yeah, right, right. All right. Well, so yeah, take Chad Gable out of the mask. It's time. Let's do it at WrestleMania. All right. Up next, we have our Women's Intercontinental Championship match. AJ Lee defending against Bailey. Matt's going to be in the minority again here because he didn't really love the match and doesn't really love AJ Lee. Look, I thought the match was fine. It was a really abrupt ending when Bailey did tap out to the to I thought the match was all right. I thought it was fine. Yeah, I didn't think it was like a barn burner. It wasn't a spectacle. I feel like maybe they could have been given like 5 to 7 more minutes and really done a little more. But AJ Lee does retain by forcing Bailey to tap out. And then they go to a commercial break, and right when we come back from the commercial break, Becky Lynch is attacking AJ Lee, throws her into the video board, lays her out, holds up the championship. And yeah, it looks like we're getting AJ Lee and Becky Lynch again at WrestleMania for the championship. We made the pitch last week, Matt, about having Bailey win it here and then getting Bailey and Lyra at WrestleMania for that title because we didn't really feel like Becky and AJ needed it. But I guess WWE feels differently. They want to establish the lineage of that championship and have it be at WrestleMania, which I personally feel like Becky should win, especially if she's going to be around and be on TV every week. Look, this is AJ's first match on Monday Night Raw since she's been back, her first match on Monday Night Raw since 2015, and first title defense on a Monday Night Raw since 2014. So it's been a long time. There's a lot of firsts in over a decade for AJ in this match. And look, cool, it gets her a big win over Bailey, who's a former Grand Slam champion, former multiple time women's champion. So it's fine. But like I said, I felt like the match could have used a little more time to let these women really shine and really showcase Bailey. And I just I don't love the tap out per se from Bailey. I wish that AJ had a move that elicited a pin instead of just like a submission that forces people to tap out. I get it, dangerous move, forces people to tap out, whatever, whatever, whatever. I just don't really love Bailey tapping out here, especially leading up to WrestleMania again. But like we talked about already, it seems like they already have an answer for Bailey. She's going to be in that tag team title scene with Lyra. Hopefully, it will be at WrestleMania. Hopefully, it will be, and we won't fall short and miss Bailey on WrestleMania 2 years in a row. But Matt, I'll let you get all your grievances out about this match and AJ Lee. I thought the match was fine. I'm like I said, I'm a fan of AJ Lee, but I haven't necessarily been a fan of her run for with this Intercontinental title since she's had it. So I'm not a fan without being critical. So let's hear what you got to say.
I mean, look, that's the main thing, right? I mean, if Bailey takes this title, this match is fine. This basically tells us that they're not going to have AJ Lee drop the title before WrestleMania, even if they have her drop it at WrestleMania. And the thing is, she doesn't look good enough right now to be a title holder. I mean, I just don't. You can tell she's rough. She's still getting, back into the swing of things. She ain't been in a ring in like 10 years or whatever it is. So you can tell she's still kind of getting back in the swing of things. So to put her in there, and I get that she's popular with the fans of yore and whatnot, that to put her in there though and give her a title immediately, and then have her like it like she beat Becky with the Black Widow. Now she beats Bailey with the Black Widow. Like you said, she needs something more than that. It just feels a little cheap. I don't know, man. Like, yet again, Bailey seemed in control of that whole match. And I kept saying, they're not going to have AJ drop the title to Bailey. Like, this match, yet again, didn't feel like it should be happening because you knew that AJ wasn't dropping it before WrestleMania. I'm mixed here, man. Like, I feel like I'd be fine with AJ Lee if she wasn't the one everybody was chasing. And then like you said, after the commercial break, Becky Lynch coming out, giving her the throwdown. Great, I guess. But now I thought we were kind of moving on with Becky Lynch a little bit, and apparently we're not. So apparently, I guess maybe we are going to run this back for WrestleMania. And then what? Becky wins it again? Or she does? And if Becky loses, what does that do for Becky? Right? Like, how does AJ Lee become like the one person Becky can't beat? That doesn't jive with me. But at the same time, I'm done with Becky as Intercontinental Champion. You know, I I just I want her see her move on to something else. So I don't know, man. I'm just kind of mixed on this one. I mean, like I said, in my dislike of AJ Lee is only because she got the title. Like it felt like I was really hoping that Bailey was going to pick it up somehow in this match. And then who knows what we're going to see as we like AJ could win it again before WrestleMania. We could do all sorts of shenanigans, but now it feels like once you don't have AJ Lee lose last night, she's not losing before WrestleMania. So what are we doing here? Like I said, are we just doing the tags like we were predicting? Is that where we're going with everyone else? It seems that might be the thing. But yeah, I was really hoping for Bailey to pick this up and just add some drama to the women's scene. Like I said, what does that do with her and Lyra? Does AJ want a rematch? Does Becky show up? And now it makes some sense because Becky's like, oh, that's mine. But yeah, I don't know, man. I'm just a little lacklustered on this one, and it's hard. It's hard when AJ Lee just doesn't look sharp in the ring yet to just keep buying her as it feels like this is more a corporate choice than it is a talent choice. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely does. I think that this is the difference between, being a newer or a returning wrestling fan is you missed the whole AJ Lee thing. So I think a lot of people look back at her run with rose-colored glasses and you
Right,
kind of,
right.
let some of the modern day stuff slide. But yeah, I mean, it definitely wasn't her best in-ring work. The promos haven't been her best promos leading like in this rivalry at all. So yeah, I mean, it's been a little sloppy, and I think it might take her some time to get her legs underneath her for the most part. Also, somebody who's been out of the ring for 10 plus years. I mean, I guess I get a little bit of ring rust,
Of
showing
course,
up
of
from time to
course.
time. I know you're not criticizing that. I know you're not saying she should be back
But
in
do you think she should
peak
have a
athletic
title?
shape. I mean, I have no problem with her having a
All right.
championship, to be honest. I think that there have been worse wrestlers than her that have held titles. I think
I'm
there
sure.
were,
I'm sure. Yeah.
so it's like I have no problem with AJ Lee being a champion. I just don't think that the rivalry that she's in, I feel like they're pushing it as such animosity that like it almost makes the title feel secondary. And I've been vocal about that for a few weeks now is I just really don't feel like Becky and AJ need it. I get putting the title on her to have her in the lineage of the championship because now you've got what Lyra, Maxine, Becky, and AJ have all been Intercontinental champions. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good lineage so far. But I just don't think that she needed it going into WrestleMania. And I agree with you that it was kind of the shakeup that maybe the women's division needed. Unfortunately, I think maybe it just kind of falls down to they don't see a lot of room to have multiple women's singles matches.
That might be true. They're still getting used to that idea over there at WWE, even though the women might in some ways be more dominant than the men right now.
Yeah,
you know?
because as of right now, you would have Stephanie and Liv, Io and Raquel. You might even have Maxine and Natty. You have Rhea and Jade. And then if you were to do AJ and Becky, and then on top of that, Lyra and Bailey, unfortunately, they're probably not going to do 6 or 7 women's matches,
Right.
singles matches at least. And then on top of that, the women's tag team match, 8 women's matches. You might as well just make it one night for women, one night for men at that point.
Another evolution, baby. Let's
Yeah,
do it.
exactly. And hey, I'm not arguing here. I'm all for
Oh,
it.
that was
Give
like
me
what,
more
the best
evolution.
PLE of the year last year? I mean,
Exactly, exactly. Like we've touted the women's division for months here on the show. I won't even dive into all that. We love the women's division here, so give us more of the women's division. Unfortunately, I just don't think that WWE would do it, and maybe we were a little optimistic, and I'm just not surprised they didn't pull the trigger.
but like you said, dude, like, look, if Bailey wins that, right? Let's say Bailey wins last night, and then Becky comes out and beats up AJ anyways. You're still pumped for an AJ Becky match at WrestleMania. Like I said, you don't
Yeah,
need the title, so I'm with you 100
exactly.
on that. They could have given it to Bailey, started some new drama. But anyways, all right.
I
Now
would have just
enough
loved a
beat.
situation where Becky interferes, costs her the title, and it's like, if you can't have it, or if I can't have it, neither can you, type of situation. And so then it's like, again, Seth hates CM Punk so much, it's only right that, you know, Seth's wife also hates CM Punk's wife just as much, equally as much. So let's jump into the men's Intercontinental Championship being defended by Penta against Dragon Lee. Look, this was a fast match and really fast paced, but I thought it was perfect. I thought it was really fun. Both of these guys can obviously go. The Mexican Destroyer out of nowhere into the pin really caught me off guard and was a really nice surprise. Dragon Lee's dive to the outside is like so sick, dude. I love that move. I'm waiting for the hopefully it never happens, knock on wood, but I'm waiting for the time that he actually gets hurt on that. They were like, all right, you can't do it anymore. Because he's just like a missile, dude, coming right
Right.
out of that middle rope. And I also noticed this really cool spot where Jessica Carr, the ref, she was like checking on Penta on the outside. A lot of people may not have saw it. I saw a page pointed out last night, but when Jessica was reaching out of the ropes, checking on Penta, she had pushed her shoulder up into the top rope to give Dragon Lee a little more room to dive through that rope. So really cool spot by the ref there that a lot of people don't notice, but just going to show you that the refs are responsible for a lot of the safety of these wrestlers as well. So shout out to Jessica Carr. I'm sure they told her to do that. But just one of those little small ref moments that, like, if you're not a hardcore fan, you won't notice, and you might even think like, oh, that doesn't matter. But it helps because a lot of the times when those wrestlers dive, they're diving down so their feet come up the back and catches that top rope, and a lot of times it can lead to injuries and can shoot them back down and land on their heads, and it can be bad. So I just thought that was a really cool spot for the wrestler's safety. But look, I've talked so much about Penta over these last few weeks because he's just been so great. He's jumped up my list a lot in terms of favorite wrestlers, and cut another great promo last night, had another great title defense. I wouldn't be surprised if he has another title defense or two before WrestleMania. And I still don't know where we're going with Penta, but also at the same time, there's another guy that I still don't know where we're going with him either. And I feel like maybe we might sneakily be on a collision course between Penta and maybe Gunther coming back to take that Intercontinental Championship back. I don't really know if that's where we're going, but when I look at the roster and who doesn't have places and what Gunther could maybe be doing next, I don't know. Maybe we could see Gunther and Penta. I'm just simply throwing them together because they both have nothing to do and it's a championship and they would just put on a really great match, I think. Look, great match by Penta, great title defense, great promo, obviously just so over with the crowd. I'm just, again, what are we doing with Penta at WrestleMania? What are we doing with Gunther at WrestleMania? I've been asking those questions for 3 weeks and we still don't have answers. But at the same time, we also complain about a lot of other storylines having too much room and, not enough to do. So I guess I'm not too mad that we're pushing it a little bit, but one of these title defenses has to lead to something for Penta at WrestleMania because Penta missing WrestleMania would just be a disappointment. It would be a travesty, honestly. He's one of the most over guys in the entire company, and him not being on the WrestleMania card would be really bad decision, I think. But leave it to WWE. He's probably going to be defending the championship on the Monday Night Raw leading into WrestleMania instead of actually being on the card. Look, fun match, fun title defense. I thought it was great. Bleacher Report gives it an A. I'm right there with it. Thought it was really fun.
No, look, I mean, the only drawback to this match is that somebody had to lose, you know? I mean, That's my biggest thing is like, what are we doing with Dragon Lee? Like, I feel like, we're doing stuff with Penta. I was waiting for Gunther to come out for this match, but not for Penta, for Dragon Lee, because I feel like they still maybe have some beef or something. I was waiting for Gunther to come out in that regard, but really, it's like, man, I feel for Dragon Lee. I felt like he was like the luchador of the future, and then they hired Penta, right? Not sure what to do here. Not sure where Dragon Lee's going because he is so talented, dude. I mean, like I said, they both are. This was a fantastic match. If this match happened every week, you wouldn't be upset, you know. So I'm more curious about what direction Dragon Lee's going. I liked it when him and AJ Styles were in that tag for a minute. I'm glad that he got. I'm glad, I guess, at least that WWE's not forgetting about it, because I feel like some guys get, left to the wayside. So I'm glad that Dragon Lee's still getting matches and whatnot. I wonder where he goes, man. Like, I feel like you said, I feel like there's a path for Penta. I'm not sure who he's taking on at WrestleMania, but I feel like we're going to see Penta against somebody at WrestleMania. So there's something for Penta to do, or everybody always wants that title, So, but yeah, dude, I more just feel for Dragon Lee because I want Dragon Lee to have the success that Penta's having right now, and yeah, that's the main thing, dude. So I'm big Dragon Lee fan, big Penta fan, big fan of this match. 100, dude. And yeah, if Gunther gets involved in some way, I would love to see maybe Gunther versus the two of them. A 2-on-1 match would be fun. I don't know if they do 2-on-1 matches much,
I
but
mean, but how would that work out with the title?
no, not for a title, just for a match. You know,
Yeah, but that, I mean,
I'm not at WrestleMania. I'm just saying I'd like to see that
well,
happen.
even still, now we're saying that neither Penta or Dragon Lee is good enough to take down Gunther by themselves. You
Yeah,
know?
maybe. I mean, we saw Gunther hang Dragon Lee out of the ring, in
Yeah,
a chokehold.
but we
You
also
know,
had that like underdog Dragon Lee moment where he almost beat Gunther in that
right,
match.
right. No,
So I could see maybe I just don't see a world where they do a 2-on-1 and like say not only is our Intercontinental Champion not good enough to take him down 1-on-1, but he needs the help of a smaller luchador
right.
that couldn't beat
Well, how
Gunther.
how about this? How about this? Like, wasn't Ludwig Kaiser Gunther's like little dude for a while?
Yeah, but he's been gone, dude. We don't know where he is.
Yeah. So what if Gunther and El Grande Americano teamed up against Penta and Dragon Lee?
That would be very interesting. That would be very interesting. That would be indeed interesting. I'll use that word.
Yeah.
It
All right.
would be
So
it would be interesting. Well, hey,
that's
look,
my
and
that's my two
before this
cents.
match, we saw backstage where Penta was making his way out. JD McDonough was actually talking to Adam Pearce. And so I think maybe we're gonna get a JD McDonough Intercontinental Championship match in the next week or two against Penta on Monday Night Raw as well.
Dude, it was so weird because it's like they didn't have the crowd noise on at that point.
Yeah, it was
Penta
weird.
Penta did the Cielo Miero, and it was usually you'd have the crowd do it for him, even if he's backstage.
And it was
And
just
it was
nothing. Yeah. I was even wondering, I was like, "Man, is the crowd just really dead for Penta right now?" And then he started walking and then they turned the audio
yeah,
on.
they
I was like,
turned the audio
"Oh,
back on.
okay,
Yeah,
okay."
yeah.
They just weren't playing the audio. Maybe they
Maybe
were
it was
trying to let
just
us
too
hear what
loud that
JD
you
was
couldn't
saying.
yeah, you wouldn't be able to hear the promo maybe. Maybe that's the thing.
I guess. But yeah, so that kinda leads me to believe we're gonna get a JD McDonough, or Intercontinental title match. Backstage, we also had Paul Heyman basically saying what I've been saying for the last few weeks, that Austin Theory and Logan Paul need to go after the tag titles. And so they promised that they're gonna take them back and get those tag titles. And they also said they're gonna take care of LA Knight, which
Yeah,
we'll
no, it was
talk more
interesting that
about in a minute.
yeah. It was interesting that Logan Paul hung back just to throw that LA Knight thing in there, like just as like an extra boon. Like, no, not only Paul, we're gonna take out the Usos, we're gonna take out So curious where that goes. Like, is that Logan shaping up for an LA Knight solo match? You
Mm-mm,
know?
mm-mm.
Or you think it's gonna be the three-man match and they're gonna add Seth or I mean, I guess where does Seth go?
Seth and LA Knight, brother.
You
Seth
think
and
they're
LA
gonna
Knight.
or a three-man tag match or a three tag match.
3 tags. It's a triple threat tag team
Trevor,
match.
there we
Yeah.
go. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah. Triple threat tag. Yeah. Yeah. So let's just talk about it because we'll talk about Maxine and Natty in just a second. But backstage, we had a segment with LA Knight and the Usos, and LA Knight basically saying, "Hey, look, you and I, we're all on the same page right now. But one thing, because we have division as like a common enemy. But one thing I can't get behind is an OG bloodline reunion because I remember what happened when you guys were running shop around here and what was happening with you guys. And so the Usos kind of said like, "Hey, look, basically mind your business. This is family business. It doesn't concern you." And then he and Jimmy seem to be on the same page. But Jay, look, let's talk about Jay for a second. I've been really critical about Jay Uso, but if we can keep Jay off the mic as much and he's just like that crash out that's just ready to fight at a moment's notice, he doesn't care. That's the Jay I want. I want the right hand man Jay. I don't want the Jay that's like, hold me back, Oos, hold me back, don't let me go, Oos. He's like, no, you better pull me off before I hurt this dude. And he just goes off. That's the Jay Uso I want, man. I don't want the pandering to the crowd. I don't want the yeet. I want the man. I'm not about all that. Let's just fight. Let's just duke it out. That's the Jay Uso I want. And so I love seeing that. So when I look at, it's either going to be Seth and LA Knight against the Usos and against Division, or it's just going to be LA Knight against one of the Usos maybe. And I don't see that happening. So when I look at what is going on, Seth has promised to take down the Vision. And then if the Usos get involved, who did Seth hate more than the Vision before he started and ended the Vision? It was the Bloodline. He
Right.
hated the Bloodline. And so now all of a sudden, you mentioned Punisher and Wolverine. All of a sudden, we've got LA Knight and Seth Rollins, who also have history because Seth was the leader of the Vision when LA Knight was trying to take down the Vision.
Right,
Now they
right.
have a common enemy in the Vision and they have a common enemy in the OG Bloodline. So don't be shocked if all of a sudden we're looking at WrestleMania, triple threat tag team match for the for the WWE Tag Team Champions or World Tag Team Championships, whatever it's called now. And it's Division, Logan Paul and Austin Theory against the Usos as the champion. And all of a sudden, LA Knight and Seth Rollins are looking at each other like, I mean, I guess we're partners now. Now you talk about you always talk about formations that form out of like necessity instead of like friendship and bond. That's the most formed out of necessity tag team I've ever heard of in my entire life is LA Knight and Seth Rollins, maybe except outside of Seth Rollins and CM Punk, unless they had to come together for something. And so now I'm looking at all of a sudden post WrestleMania, I just wouldn't be shocked if we have Seth Rollins and LA Knight as our tag team champions. And now maybe you've got Roman Reigns, who's won that championship, and we're back to 2020, where he's scolding the Usos for losing their tag titles at WrestleMania. We've got the OG Bloodline reunited. I don't know, man. I just see, again, I talk a lot about wrestling math. I've been talking about this for the last few weeks, where I've got 4 names against Division, and I've only got 2 people against Division. And I said that odd man out was LA Knight. LA Knight kind of made his intentions clear this week that I'm cool with you guys, but I'm not that cool with you guys. And if y'all go the route I'm thinking you guys are going to go, we are going to have problems again. And then I look at wrestling math. Okay, I had 2v4. Now it's 2v2. What are these two going to do? Seth doesn't have a plan. LA Knight doesn't have a plan now that Brock Lesnar is obviously done with or competing against Obafemi.
Right.
Triple threat tag team match just kind of makes the most sense. In a random thrown together, we have to take these 2 groups down before they do the ultimate damage in Seth Rollins and LA Knight. And now we're sitting Monday Night Raw and we have this random duo who aren't friends, who don't really like each other. And now they're tag team champions together. How's that going to work? How are they going to coexist? So sign me the hell up for that. That's what I want to see.
I just want to go make a LA Knight, Seth Rollins, Punisher, Wolverine picture now. That's what I want to do. That's what I want to do.
Because Seth never dies. He's always back. He always finds a way. He might be gone for a while. He might take a while to heal up, but he never stops. And he's coming back for you, So yeah. And then give me Danhausen to be their Deadpool. So I'll take that. Deadpoolhausen.
Yeah. Deadhausen. There we go.
Deadhausen. There you go. Yeah. Give me a triple threat tag team match for those tag titles at WrestleMania. All right. Look, man, we don't have to spend a ton of time on this. Maxine
There's
and
nothing
Natty.
to say, dude. There's nothing.
But.
Okay. You've got something to take away from that. All right.
I saw something backstage that kind of made me like perk my eyebrows up a little bit. Whenever we had Lyra and Bailey, chirping at each other, trying to calm each other down, and then the Kabuki Warriors came up. Did you see who was behind them?
No.
Maxine Dupree. She was looking, I don't know if disheveled is the right word. She was just like distraught about her loss. She was sitting on the floor, and out of nowhere, Austin Theory and Logan Paul walked by. And they were going to walk by, but Austin Theory stopped and he talked to Maxine Dupree in the background. Logan Paul stopped and they talked for a second. And then Austin Theory, Logan Paul walked away, and Maxine just kind of stayed there with her head down. And that's got me really curious. Is Maxine maybe, I pitched this idea a few weeks back about Maxine maybe realizing she doesn't have the edge that Natty has. And that's going to be the thing that doesn't quite get Maxine over the edge. Maxine's going to lose and lose and lose. And eventually she's going to realize I'm missing something. I'm missing something to get back to that Intercontinental Championship scene or back to a title scene, whatever it may be. What if Maxine is the first woman to be introduced into the Vision? What if she is a Paul Heyman girl? What if Paul Heyman takes her under her wing and says, I'll show you the ropes, kid. I've never done this before. Because Paul Heyman always talked about wanting Ronda Rousey. And I know that Maxine's not necessarily a Ronda Rousey, obviously, but Maxine does have a lot of promise. She's already a former champion. She's kind of loved by the crowd. She's not bad on the mic. And I don't know, man, throwing her in there with the Vision, and now all of a sudden we're looking at a Vision that's Austin Theory, Logan Paul, and Maxine Dupree feels weird. But then you look at all three of them individually and you're like, nah, I mean, it kind of makes sense. Like guys and a gal who are actually really good, who do a lot of things really well, who maybe just need the right manager in their corner to get them over with the crowd. Paul Heyman's that guy, and I wouldn't be mad at a maybe like a heel Maxine Dupree that also doesn't necessarily like Natty. Just because she's a heel doesn't mean she has to be on the same page with Natty. She can still dislike Natty and also realize she doesn't have that edge, and maybe that leads to Natty also joining the Vision. And again, I pitched them becoming like a student teacher tag team where Natty's like, look, I don't have to teach you how to wrestle anymore. I don't need to teach you any of this anymore. You're missing the grit and you're missing the edge to be like that badass woman that takes my place whenever I'm gone. And maybe all of a sudden we're looking at Logan Paul, Austin Theory, Natty, and Maxine as the new Vision, per se, whatever that may be. And so I don't know. I don't know where we're going with this, but Maxine, Austin Theory, and Logan Paul can't just be leading to nothing. That's just so out of left field that it's like, why would you show it in that backstage segment if it meant nothing? Because I could see if maybe Maxine was like kayfabe married to Austin Theory or Logan Paul, but she's not. She's married already and she's with someone. She's not with either of these two. So it has to be storyline related. And I'm perplexed by what this is, because I can try to fantasy book this all day long, but unless she's going to be a member of the Vision, I don't know where this is going.
Dude, she's awful. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how you
You think she's
redeem.
awful?
Dude, I think she's stiff. I think she's
Really?
dude, I mean, so many of the moves that I watch her do, I don't feel like there's any fluidity when she's going through. She seems very she just reminds me of like somebody had a girlfriend and like, yeah, no, she can wrestle. And then like you find out you break up, it's like, all right, I admit she couldn't wrestle. I just want her to, to be on the show with us, I don't know, man. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but she just seems so stiff. She doesn't seem like it's like Jesse Spano. You know who Jesse Spano was?
I
Saved
think
by the
so.
Bell.
Yeah.
She's Jesse Spano on Caffeine Kick. I'm so excited. I'm so like it's just.
I feel like I disagree. I've seen her work when she was with Becky and that match she had with Ivy Nile. I think this is just the case of her and Natty have wrestled so many times. This rivalry has kind of become really cold and stale. And I think it's kind of like when you look at the character that Natty is now and how many times they wrestled, I don't know what other type of match you can really put together. And that kind of feels to me maybe why this match was so rushed and maybe
I mean,
why
I,
it was
I don't
so
know, like,
fast.
but you mentioned Becky. Becky makes anybody look good. You mentioned Ivy Nile. Ivy Nile kind of makes anybody look good. That's kind of what Ivy Nile does, since they won't let her
Yeah,
win. She looks good. She makes
I
people.
agree with you to the point that other women can make other women look good, but I think Maxine herself looked good in those matches and feuds. And I just feel like maybe this should have hit another level or should have already been over. I feel like Maxine and Natty should not have been wrestling this week, and I feel like maybe they're just really clunky together, especially since Natty's style is more like ground and pound brawl, unorthodox, not really organized wrestling anymore. I feel like matches with Natty are supposed to feel clunky and unorganized now because of the type of character she is. So I feel like maybe it's more like not Maxine in this match, more so than it is like these two styles and these characters shouldn't be working together right now. I think we should move on from Natty and Maxine.
I think Maxine needs a makeover, maybe. Maybe that's what it is. She's very tall and she's very lean. So it's like I said, that's why I think of her as Jessie Spano. If you like I said, if you're ever a Saved by the Bell fan, Jessie was the tall one. She's very skinny. I don't feel there's a lot of muscle on Maxine. I don't
I feel
know.
like she's
I
nothing
mean,
but muscle.
well, and bone. There's a lot of bone there
Yeah.
and skin. I don't know, man. I just maybe to making her dark, you know. I mean, maybe that would do it, but yeah, but maybe it's an edge thing as well. Like you said, maybe she needs that edge because right now it's just I don't know, dude. Like that match, like if there was ever a match to get up and go to the bathroom for, it was Maxine and Natty. That was the bathroom match.
I mean, I won't argue that. Like I said, I don't think the match should have been happening. I just feel like maybe recency bias is forcing you to be a little too hard on
I
Maxine.
mean, I'm like, dude, I never had Maxine Dupree before, this Natty slash Becky thing. So I don't know yet again what she's supposed to be, but I haven't really been impressed when she beat Becky. It
Well,
seemed
she's
like
she's still technically a rookie. She's still
all
in her
right.
first year as an active wrestler
Okay, so
on the
like
main
I said, so
roster.
maybe she's going to grow, but right now, I mean, look, she looks like maybe they should drop her back down to NXT or something. I don't know. Like,
I disagree with you on that, but
dude, I don't know, man. I've seen some NXT girls and I'm like, how are they not on the main roster? And then I don't know. I just feel like I've seen more talent in NXT than I have with
yeah,
Maxine.
I mean, I'll definitely I'll agree with you that there is a lot of talent on NXT, but you could say the same thing about a lot of men on the roster. Like, let's not forget Obafemi until a few months ago was also on NXT. And are we going to
Oh
argue
yeah,
that
no, I mean,
Obafemi isn't better than 80% of the men's roster?
he is,
So
but I mean, he did his time. I mean, I guess you got to do your time now, but anyways, I'm not sold on Maxine Dupree. I am certainly not sold on Maxine and Natty. Like this needs to end. Like how long has this been going on?
too long.
Now?
That's the thing. It's
Yeah.
just been too long, and
And that
that's why I
doesn't
feel
help it.
like
That obviously
yeah,
doesn't help it. So and then Natty, I don't know what you do with Natty. Like it feel like you pulled Natty in solely for the Maxine Dupree storyline, right? Like what was Natalia doing before this?
I think she had just been on the shelf for a while. I think she's hurt.
Right. So I feel like they pulled her back in for this Maxine storyline that ends up not really. I mean, what was it? Was it 2 weeks ago when she quote unquote got knocked out or whatever? I just
Yeah,
like what are they doing? Like maybe like I said, the only thing I can see is if I like your booking of they're beating her down so much that she has to change something. But that's got to come now. Like I can't have one more match of Maxine just or unless she wrestles Ivy now and Ivy now gets a win.
usually see. Here's the thing. I love Ivy Nile. I think you should just be more touting that she's not getting enough love than
That's
Maxine's
what
getting
I've
too
said
much.
that. I've said Ivy now don't
I
get no
know.
love.
All
So
right, well, let's talk about more of the women's division because we already talked about Randy Orton and his promo and what he talked about. Actually, before we get to it, Danhausen cursed Grayson Waller backstage. So I'm sure something bad's going to happen to Grayson Waller really soon. But
and I love
Kofi
how
Kingston,
Kofi Kingston avoided it,
they
and
pushed him in the way. Yep.
through like I don't know if that's how the curses work. I mean, I guess it does, but
The way they were playing it off, it certainly feels like it.
it
So,
felt like it. But I'd love for them both to be cursed, and
yeah.
Kofi be like, "I'm not cursed, you're cursed." It's like, well, then why did you spill your McDonald's milkshake on your shirt? That just happened. I'm not cursed, You're
I have
cursed.
a feeling this is leading to because obviously Woods must be out for a while if he's still not back and they're playing up this angle with Javon. I think we're leading to a Javon Evans and Grayson Waller one-on-one match because Grayson Waller he said this week, I don't know what you see in this kid. I could see a situation where maybe Kofi tries to help Grayson Waller and it backfires, Grayson Waller loses, and maybe Kofi turns on him or kicks him to the curb and tries to keep recruiting Javon Evans, and that's the curse that happens to Grayson Waller. He loses to Javon Evans or something
Well,
and
here's
gets kicked
the
out of
other
the
thing.
New Day.
Are we going to get maybe a Javon Evans Dragon Lee tag team? Because as I said, what do you do with Dragon Lee? Javon Evans comes up to him after that match with Penta. And the last time we saw Dragon Lee, quote unquote be relevant, as I said, was with AJ Styles. So are we going to get a, because what are you doing with Javon Evans right now as well? You know, so are we going to get an Evans Dragon Lee tag team maybe?
Actually, you bring up a good point, and now that you say that, I could probably see them doing Javon and Dragon Lee against Grayson Waller and Kofi next week, and whenever it looks like Javon's gonna win, probably gets thrown out of the ring by Kofi. Dragon Lee eats the Trouble in Paradise from Kofi. Kofi and Grayson Waller pick up the win, so we must be like, oh, the Danhausen curse, doesn't exist anymore. And then maybe after the match, Javon Evans comes in the ring and him and Kofi are face to face, and Kofi's like, see, I can I can provide you wins. I can teach you. I can be your mentor and your teacher. And maybe Grayson Waller finally gets in the middle and like confronts whatever, and Kofi turns on Grayson and kicks him to the side, and that's the Danhausen curse taking effect. And Kofi's like, look, Grayson didn't win this match. I did. I'm the former WWE champion. I'm the future Hall of Famer. I'm the however many time tag team champion. I think Kofi's won the Kofi Kingston, actually, for those of you who don't know, is the longest. He has the most days as a WWE champion, a tag team champion, accumulatively throughout his entire career. He's been champion. He's been tag team champion for over like 800 days in his entire career, if you combine all of his reigns. And so, maybe he can tout that to Javon Evans. Say, hey, look, I'm kicking Grayson Waller to the curb because I see more potential in you. I think you're the future. And I could really see a Kofi and Javon Evans tag team run, down the line. And then maybe Woods can come back. You can have some stuff with that. But yeah, I see something boiling over soon in terms of Grayson Waller being kicked out of the group very soon.
So I can see like Javon Evans, Dragon Lee going on tag team, going a little run and take on Damian Priest and R Truth after WrestleMania, and
Well,
maybe,
different brands, different tag champs.
damn it, damn the
Yeah.
brands, damn the brands. All
Yeah,
right,
only
all right.
only the women tag
Yeah,
teams
only
jump
the women have
brands.
the one.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I know, I know. All right, well, let's talk more about the women. Look, let's talk about Stephanie and Raquel because the match is fine. I don't think we need to talk too much about the match. The thing is, we've seen these women compete too many times on TV against each other. And my big thing is, Liv and Raquel needs more. It needs more between those women. And I got to be honest, man. Io and Raquel, cool. Like, fine. If that's the match we're going with, whatever. But there's no way that Raquel is winning that match against Io. I think we can both agree with that. Is that there's no way that Raquel is going to beat Io at WrestleMania. And so my thing is, you've spent all year convincing us that Raquel is a main eventer. She belongs in the women's world championship scene. All she does is lose. How am I supposed to buy into Raquel being a legitimate threat for any championship on this main roster when all she does is lose? Raquel needs wins, and putting her up against the women's world champion doesn't take away from the fact that she's still losing. She's lost to Stephanie Baker, what, 3 or 4 times this year on TV? Like, okay, why am I supposed to take Raquel seriously anymore? She doesn't snap on Liv whenever Liv does underhanded things. She doesn't snap whenever things don't go her way because of the group, and she doesn't snap whenever she keeps losing even at like the group is costing her wins. And now all of a sudden I'm supposed to still take Raquel as a serious threat? I think Raquel's booking has been very bad this year. I feel like whenever she was in that championship run against Stephanie Baker, I can understand her not winning the title and losing a few times. But like she just keeps losing and losing and losing, and she gets embarrassed and does nothing about it. And as look, I'm a huge Raquel Rodriguez fan. I'm starting to lose faith in her character. Her character has shown me over the last 3 months that there's very little legitimacy to her, to the threat that is Big Mommy Cool. Why should I be worried about Raquel being out here when all she does is lose, or she causes the group to lose? And so I'm not a big fan of the booking for Raquel right now. I can take the match; it's fine. The match was good, but it needs more between Io and not Io. It needs more between Stephanie and Liv, and Raquel, she needs wins. I don't think there's any world that Io is going to lose, but you can argue that that's exactly what needs to happen. Raquel needs to beat Io Sky at WrestleMania, and it looks like that's where we're going. But I wouldn't put money on Raquel beating her, and that's what needs to happen because you're running the risk of, if you're not turning Raquel on Liv at WrestleMania, why should any of us take her seriously anymore? because she doesn't take the group seriously. She doesn't take losing seriously. She doesn't take Liv getting championships by undermining Raquel Rodriguez seriously. So I think you're running the really big risk of booking Raquel into the ground and her not being a legitimate threat anymore. And it just kind of sucks because I'm a really big fan of hers.
I'm looking. When did the Liv Morgan promo? Did that run? Was that a
I think
not
that happened
not?
earlier. It was a recorded. Yeah.
Yeah, but was that not on main TV, or because I can't find it anywhere in the recap.
No, it
So
was. It was.
okay, I didn't know if that was a freebie for everybody else in the world or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't think it was just like an international thing. Let me see. Yeah, I don't see Bleacher Report talking about it at all.
Yeah. So I mean, look, that promo, by the way, like I said, I feel like that gave a lot of establishing details of where we're at with Liv and Raquel. At the same time, yeah, I'm with you. I don't like any of the Raquel booking lately, but I feel like WWE just screwed up. They should have been doing this before Liv came back,
Yeah.
and then put Raquel on a run. But it's like they waited until Liv came back to put Raquel on any kind of run, and then immediately they started throwing ice on it. It's like, okay, so that's my one thing. Like, I can handle what's happening right now, but you're right. They were building her up. They put her in Elimination Chamber, all this other stuff. Great showing at the Rumble. She'd been beating people. She'd been looking like me. Like I said, she was ready to take on Rhea and whoop the crap out of Rhea. And now I don't think anybody would take Raquel over Rhea in a match. Whereas 3-4 months ago, you might have said, hmm, Raquel could
Yeah.
do it. Raquel could beat Big Mama. So yeah, no, that look, I don't feel like this blows up at WrestleMania. I feel like this blows up the Raw after WrestleMania. You know, I
You're
feel like
probably right.
that's where we see it. And if we don't see it, then I don't know if we're gonna be sitting here like we sat with Dom and Finn waiting 2 years for something that should have happened, forever ago.
2 years
So
ago, probably.
yeah, exactly. That's what. Thank you. So yeah, I feel like that it's got to happen after WrestleMania. But like I said, the other person we haven't seen lately, I know, like since she got a little hurt, we haven't seen any Roxanne Perez. And I feel like that is a key component that we're not discussing in this whole thing. Because if Roxanne and Raquel both turn on Liv,
I
if
think a big
if
reason we're not
Liv
talking
and
about Roxanne is we just don't know when she's gonna be back.
right, I know, man, that's part
It's
of it.
so hard to have a timetable when you have a mass removed, and I don't know anything about that. Obviously, I'm not a doctor, so I don't know anything about that, but, I'm sure I don't know, man. Right now, it kinda feels like maybe we won't see Roxanne again until after WrestleMania.
We
I
might
really don't know.
not. But then like which side does she take? You know, because we assume, or I think I at least assume she takes Raquel's side, but she has been tagging with Liv as well lately. So which side? And she does what? Kind of flirt with Dirty Dom. So is she going to want to stay close to Dirty Dom, or is she going to take the Raquel and split her off side? I don't know. I think Roxanne is the interesting X factor in this, but I'm buying on this blowing up like the Raw after WrestleMania. That's what I'm looking for. And that, because at this point, we've got everything set. And we're not going to make Raquel look strong between now and then because we want whatever, Liv to take it off Stephanie. We want, Rhea to take it off Jade. I think they've got established ideas of where they want WrestleMania to go and the winners who come out of WrestleMania. But what happens after that? I feel like obviously that's the new time for new stories to flourish. So I think that's when we start seeing the more dominant Raquel again. If we don't, then, total missed opportunity by WWE because they were building her up to be, my God, dude, a world killer for a second. Like I said, if I've got her beating Rhea, if I think she can beat Rhea, then you've done a great job building her up. But now, so I want to get Raquel back to that spot, but I feel like the only way you get Raquel back to that spot is if she kind of goes the Rhea/Damian Priest way of breaking away from the Judgment Day and establish herself on her own brand, you know? So give me that to happen on the Raw after WrestleMania and give me maybe we see it. Maybe something happens, during Liv and Stephanie's. I feel like Liv's going to beat Stephanie. I mean, this is too early WrestleMania predictions, but I feel like we're still going to see something, some jealousy, some anger, something out of Raquel when Liv wins. Not happiness. We're going to see her go like little Randy Orton. Not that she's going to like bloody Liv after WrestleMania, but who knows? That could be what happens in Raw, the next Raw, because it's going to be what, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, you know? So depending when she gets that title, you know, we could.
Look, man,
Yeah.
I'd like to see a world where, look, Raquel's the biggest member of the group, bigger than Dirty Dom, bigger than JD McDonough, bigger than Liv Morgan. I'd like to see her just beat everybody down. You know,
Right.
she lays Liv out and Dom tries to stop her. She slams him. JD's
Mhm.
like, whoa, whoa, whoa. She slams him. And then she keeps beating up on Liv. You talking about maybe not doing it as brutal. Bloody her up, bro.
Yeah.
Do it. Like,
Yeah.
if you're gonna
No,
do
I'm saying
do
don't
it.
do it
Yeah.
WrestleMania night. But yeah, no, I
Yeah,
can see
no,
him doing it on a Raw night.
I
Yeah.
like your idea of Monday night after Raw.
And then
Or your
and then if
Monday after
Roxanne's
WrestleMania.
back, have her give an eye to Roxanne and be like, which side you taking? And if Roxanne's taking the Liv side, she lays Roxanne out as well. You
Well,
know?
and see, I feel like Roxanne, here's the thing. I see it dissipating to the point where it's Liv and Dom together and everybody else is by themselves. I feel like we see a situation of maybe where Roxanne takes out Liv, beats her down, takes out JD, takes out Dom, and she turns to Roxanne and Roxanne's like, whoa, 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 hey, look, look, look. When Liv wasn't here, I was with you. I was with you. If this is what you want to do, let's just each go our separate ways. No hard feelings, no harm done. I'll leave you right now and you can do your thing. And Raquel's like, all right, go. And Roxanne just is allowed to go do her own thing.
Yeah.
And
No,
so then
something
you
like
don't,
that. Yeah.
yeah, so you don't have to force Roxanne to make a decision. She's not handcuffed to anybody going forward. It's her get out free card of like, look, get out now or you're gonna wish you did. And Roxanne's like, say less, you got it. I'm gone. Bye. And so now you can let Roxanne do her thing with the Intercontinental Championship, probably have her be in that mid card scene and have her hold that
Right.
title for a while. I would love to see Roxanne with a run with that IC title and really establish that, have some great matches against some
Or
of those
just get
women.
in it, man. Get in it. Cause
Yeah,
I mean, it needs somebody besides AJ Lee and Becky Lynch. That's for sure. So just get in it. You
yeah,
know?
100% agree.
Now the
So,
one thing I'm not sure about that you said is I don't know where JD goes. Like you're saying it's gonna be
singles.
Liv and Dom by themselves, but the fact that JD took up for Dom, last week is kind of, I don't know. I mean,
I mean,
I don't
maybe he
know.
does linger on a little bit, but then that kind of tells me that Roxanne would stay and maybe linger a little bit as well. And maybe it would break up eventually. I would like to just see a big implosion,
Right.
like a big thing. And maybe JD even comes back to Liv and Dom the week after. It's like, all right, so what's the plan, guys? What are we going to do here? And Liv and Dom are like, JD, I think it's over. Like,
Yeah, what are we
I don't,
gonna do? We
yeah, I
we
don't.
know what
Yeah,
we're gonna do. We don't know what you're
and
gonna
Liv's like,
do.
ha 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 ha. Liv's like, I don't know what we're doing, but me and Dirty Dom, we're gonna go do our thing. We're
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
go be champions over here. And so then I think it leaves JD like, damn, I turned on my mentor to
Mhm.
to side with these guys, and now I'm by myself. But I feel like JD getting that shot at Penta's Intercontinental Championship kind of sets the precedent of like, to show us that he can be on a singles run by himself. And maybe he could hold that championship, and also shows to the crowd, like, hey, look, I'm not just a tag team guy. I don't have to be a part of this group. I can be a singles guy. I mean, even CM Punk touted his praises, in a promo recently where he gave JD McDonough some credit. So yeah, I think that ultimately it leads to Dominic and Liv by themselves, and then everybody else is solo. And that may be weird, but I really don't see a trajectory for them to do anything else, honestly. So I think, yeah, I think that maybe, fingers crossed, as much as I love them, we're finally seeing the implosion of the Judgment Day very, very soon. All right. All this, and we still haven't talked about CM Punk and Roman Reigns, so let's get into it real quick. Look, I'm just going to come out and say it, Matt. I was not a huge fan of this promo. This is multiple weeks that we've seen these guys, verbally spar, and it finally did get a little physical with CM Punk knocking down Roman Reigns. But I guess maybe because I'm not that old. I mean, some of the kids nowadays like to call me old for the age I am, but I'm only 30. And maybe Punk, maybe that's like his biggest thing, is he doesn't like being called old. And Roman Reigns called him old, and Punk really took that to heart. And that was what made Punk put his hands on Roman and laid him, knocked him down. And it just it just didn't feel like it was the biggest thing that could have been said by Roman to really throw Punk over the edge. And so I had this theory, Matt, and I've seen some people throwing it around online. I wish I could give credit, but I really don't remember. I just I really feel like we're headed towards a CM Punk heel turn. And
Hmm.
he made the comment of like my luscious hair, It's like what kind of baby face? I mean, I know CM Punk is full of himself and always has been, but it felt like he was leaning even more into like the how great am I? Look at me. You I know Roman Reigns does the whole acknowledge me, but it almost felt like CM Punk was saying, "Look at me. Look at me. I'm the champion." And for him to say all those great things about himself, and for Roman to say, "Yeah, you're old," and that's what set Punk off. That kind of feels like an insecurity thing. And baby faces don't show insecurities, but baby faces who are on the verge of heel turns may show those insecurities inadvertently by laying their hands on their WrestleMania opponent when meaner things have been said. Punk's like, you can't get under my skin. And then being called old is the thing that got you? I don't know, man. I was really hoping that we were going to get Roman Reigns dropping a line about his dog, Larry. That, for me, would have been the thing that I'm like, okay, I can see CM Punk going over the edge about his dog. Because for CM Punk, who has no children, his dog is his closest thing to a child that he has. And, Larry just passing away at Elimination Chamber, he wore the, tribute to Larry jacket. And I just feel like Roman Reigns saying something about your stupid buck teeth dog would have been like a really big, like, that would have been the ultimate button to push for, because like CM Punk, you didn't lose your cool when he mentioned your wife, but you lost your cool when he just said you were old. Dude, I'm sorry, but you're a little old. Like you're approaching 50 as an active wrestler. Like it's respectable that you can still do what you do, but let's not pretend that you have less years left than behind you. Like let's not pretend that that is the case. That's not the case. So I don't know, man. For all the verbal jabs that have been thrown between these two and the crazy lines, like it Roman didn't even hit you when you dropped a line about his dead dad. But because he said you were old, you you can't stand it no more. I don't know, man. The promo just felt a little repetitive because we had Roman trying to walk away again and CM Punk stopping him. And then it felt like we needed more, and it felt like it just really didn't deliver. Again, I know it's tough because we're on the road to WrestleMania. Stuff's going to feel like maybe it's taking too long or it's moving too fast. And this feels like an instance of I needed more. It wasn't enough. Like these guys got to get physical for real at some point. And I know maybe it's a little early right now, maybe so, but this just didn't do it for me. It wasn't enough and I felt like it needed more. And I'm going to keep saying the word more and more and more because I needed it. And Matt, maybe you disagree with me about this promo, but it just Roman Reigns dropped a promo to the crowd after the show went off the air that I felt like would have been better than what we got, you
Yeah.
know? Yeah, it's something along the lines of he's going to remind everybody who's the real face of the company and so on and so forth. But again, I just felt like the old line is fine, but CM Punk's reaction to it was lame. And then everybody just kind of like coming out and separating them amicably, and CM Punk just like walks away, like looking back. Again, it just feels inconsistent to me, and I'm not loving the promos back and forth. It feels like that first promo between them set such a high bar that
Dude, yeah,
WWE wants
that
to
might
just
be
keep
part of it.
repeating that success. And
Yeah.
it's like you need something more at this point, WWE. It's not enough. It's not enough. We
I
need
mean, it
an
also
attack
didn't help.
backstage or something.
It it also didn't help that like Roman Reigns already ran the promo by the Usos before he went out and did the promo, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
he went out, had the same conversation, like, "You called me a part-timer, like, that's a bad thing. Like, don't you wanna raise your kids and be there for your kids and all that stuff?" And it's like, came out and did, like, the exact same promo then to Punk, like, "Ask your wife what it's like to be a part-timer. She's got it right," you know? And it's like, I just yeah, it just didn't have the edge. It just feels very watered down now. Like you said, they hit it a month ago or whenever that promo was, 3 weeks ago, whatever that was. That was nailing it left, right, and center. And then last week, the beat down maybe was kind of nice between Punk and the Usos. But now, like, yeah, where'd this promo go? Like, what do we really establish here that we hadn't established? I thought the only line I thought was funny was like, "You keep calling me Phil. I call you by your first name, but I can't pronounce it," or whatever the hell Punk
Yeah,
said.
I honestly could have done without that line,
I mean, that was a jerk line to
but
say. That's why it
again,
worked.
another hint that, like, that's a heelish thing to say, dude.
That's
Like, that's
fair.
like making fun of someone's culture by making fun of their name. That's a pretty heelish thing to do.
Well,
When he
maybe that's
said
what they're
that, I
trying
was
to do.
like,
Maybe you're right. Maybe they are trying to make Punk a heel because right now you got two baby faces going up at WrestleMania, and what they just do with the other two baby faces? They made Orton the heel. So maybe I don't know. I mean, have we ever seen Punk as really a heel? I mean,
yeah, I
has
mean,
he?
in his first run, we definitely had.
All
Yeah,
right.
yeah, most definitely. And now in this run, no, he hasn't been a heel yet.
I mean, he's been all when he did the pipe bomb promo. Was that a heel pro? I don't even know. Is
He
that
was
considered a
technically a
heel?
heel when he dropped that, but that was kind of unprecedented for the times. He was a heel, but that was like him and like '09 Randy Orton were like some of the first ones, like heels that I really remembered. The crowd were like, "We don't care if you're a bad guy. We love the shit out of you and what you're doing." And it was like cool to like the bad guys. And CM Punk eventually morphed from bad guy to like he's not really a bad guy. He's just like anti-authority, anti-system. And so a lot of people really bought into that. But no, Punk could definitely be a heel. I'm interested to see if he can be a heel at this stage in his career, but, again, I just, um I just didn't love the old line being the thing that really set Punk over the edge. It's like, man, all these guys are, like, verbally jabbing you and saying these things to you, and you're insecure about your age, buddy, everybody gets old. Like, it is what it is, and so, I don't know, I coulda done without that being the line in the proverbial sand.
Right, right. I mean, this match has to happen. Roman has to beat the hell out of Punk, like just beat him to an inch of his life so that Punk has to go to Seth, you know? Like that's what I want to see. I want to see Punk have to go to Seth and ask Seth for help, because that's kind of like the only way that I feel like this gets redeemed because Roman's never going to go to Seth, you know. I can see Punk. You think he could?
I don't know, man. Look, call me crazy, but in a world where CM Punk turns heel, I just don't think it's too crazy. Look, I'm gonna fantasy book the shit out of something real quick, and I'll be so fast. But we've seen CM Punk lead a group before, right? What if we're talking about in a few months? Listen, don't call me crazy, but what if CM Punk as a heel goes back to Paul Heyman and starts to lead the Vision and is the new leader of the Vision? And now all of a sudden we've got a heel CM Punk as the world heavyweight champion if he wins at WrestleMania. We've got Logan Paul and Austin Theory as the tag team champions. We've got Maxine Dupree, and now we've got Paul Heyman. And down the line, what if all of a sudden, in order to take down the CM Punk led Vision, Roman Reigns and CM Punk are in a weird spot? Like we say that they would never get help from each other, but we also said the same thing 6 to 8 months ago about LA Knight and Seth Rollins. And now look at where they are. All of a sudden they have common enemies. What if all of a sudden babyface Seth Rollins and babyface Roman Reigns are looking at each other like, man, look, we know what's on the other side of this, and we know how dangerous Punk can be as a leader. Punk with Paul Heyman, we got to take these guys down. And like, I don't know, man. I just, I just don't think it's an impossibility anymore.
And that leads to a Punk retirement match. And it's over. And Punk is
No,
gone. And
I'm
take AJ Lee with you.
Punk is not retiring until 2030 at best. I'm telling you, he's got another few years. So I'm sorry, Matt. He's not retiring anytime soon. But, yeah, dude, I didn't love the segment. I didn't think it was terrible. I thought it was obviously a good promo. I just didn't love the proverbial nail in the coffin that was the old line that really set Punk over the edge. So I just could have done without that being the big point of the promo. And then we're just left with this awkward like separation between the two. Like just let
No,
them
like,
fight.
yeah, something. I mean, yet again, like you said, they went too hot 3 weeks ago and they haven't been able to match it. And it's just been yet again, what are we doing on our way to WrestleMania? Are we gonna just have another Punk Roman promo next week? Now they're talking about who knits the best. Yeah, like when we're in the retirement home, I'm gonna out knit you, no problem.
Yeah, what's CM Punk gonna say next? You don't even look like Akuma. You don't even look like him. Is that his name, Akuma?
Yeah, for the Street Fighter. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
you don't even look like him, so joke's on you, and it's like,
I've
okay,
seen you act before in Fast and the Furious, whatever it was, 8,
yeah.
7, or the Hobbs and Shaw movie, whichever one he was in. I can't remember.
Yeah, he was
But
in the
yeah,
Hobbs& and Shaw movie, yeah.
that was the one. That was the one.
Yeah, so look, like you said, Raw, it and very quickly took that downturn, so
But as bad as it was probably one of the best episodes of Raw lately, you know?
yeah, this year,
So,
for sure.
but dude, I'm telling you, that opening Seth Rollins, Oba, Brock, Paul thing, that was beautiful. That literally made the whole night for me. I mean, I was smiling, still 3 hours later because of that. So,
Yeah, well, alright, well, our longest show yet, we had a lot to talk about, and, Friday Night SmackDown was crazy, Monday Night Raw, trying to be relevant, but not doing as great of a job as SmackDown is so far, so we'll wait and see what happens next week. NXT is gonna be, doing a Booker T tribute show because Booker T is like a commentator there, so that should be pretty fun. And yeah, WrestleMania season is in full effect. Anxious to see what they do with the rest of these storylines, which ones they slow down, which ones they speed up, because some of them need, a little bit of both.
right, right.
So anxious to see what's going to happen. But Matt, that's going to do it for us here at TK Wrestling, unless you got something else to throw in.
No, man, I'm just curious where people think things are gonna go. Like, does anybody else think we're moving too fast? Like anybody think some of these storylines need to slow down? Like, where do you put Gunther at? Like you said, that's a big question for you and I. Where's Gunther go? Are we gonna see Seth and LA Knight? Is that what we're seeing them tagging at WrestleMania? Is that I wasn't ready for Seth to be in a tag match at WrestleMania, maybe. I figured, but I guess there's still no Braun Breaker, health. So
Yeah, so unless it's Braun, then it's like cool. I'll take Braun Breaker and Seth. I definitely would. You're running out of time if he is, going to come back to make people really. I don't want to say buy into it because there's the obvious history, but like get people excited for it to where it doesn't feel rushed. You
and
know?
then, if it is indeed Oba and Brock, like we're assuming now, what
No, they made it official.
match
They made it official.
they did? So, okay, so what match are you right now most excited for WrestleMania? Because I mean, like, right now it seems like, I mean, we gotta wait a month, but these matches should be baller, man. Randy, Cody, Roman's Punk, Stephanie Liv, Rhea Jade, and now Oba and Brock. Which one are you guys most excited for? Which one are you gonna fanboy out for? Because man, look, I mean, it looks like a great card. Like, as much
Yeah,
as crap as we're giving the build-up right now, the card looks pretty spectacular. So,
I agree with you. I think it's going to be a fun card. I mean, assumingly we get Becky and AJ, you know,
right, something like that. We're getting some tag
Io
team
and
stuff.
Raquel.
Yeah.
So a lot of stuff we're going to get. I think it's going to be overall a better WrestleMania than it was last year, and I think the card is going to be great. I just think they need to nail the execution in terms of building the storylines for the rest of the few weeks that we have. So, yeah, let us know which match you're excited for most. Let us know which matches they haven't announced yet that you want to see. And make sure again, like, subscribe, hit the noti bell, and go check us out on all of our socials. And until next week, we are TK Wrestling, and we're out of here.